Cuffs are off, man. Get right. Too many left in these leagues, but I ain't gonna...
Hey everybody, Adam Rank here.
What's up everybody? It's Marcus Grant from NFL Network.
This is AJ Dillon of the Green Bay Packers.
I got to give a shout out to y'all at Get Right Fantasy.
If you are not subscribed, what are you waiting for? You want to lose your league?
Check out the Get Right Fantasy Network.
You got to get right with the Get Right Fantasy Network.
Best of luck with your podcast. Appreciate the support.
And you're tuned in to watch my boys at Get Right Fantasy Network. Get you right. Enjoy the show.
Marking nothing, but I tune in every Friday. Strategies provided, I will lock in every way. So go and roll your sleeves up, man. Yeah, go and roll your sleeves up. And I'm getting down, cause I roll my sleeves up. And I'm getting right, cause I roll my sleeves up.
What up? What up? What up, world? We are back. I'm Anthony, aka Rasta. This is Get Right Fantasy Network. Unfortunately, our boy Classic Mike here pulled his hammy, man, in softball, so he is on the bench tonight. Had to sit him. We called up the guy from the bullpen, I guess you'd say. We're gonna mix all the whatever in here. So either way, man, we got my boy Tycoon in the house tonight. What's up, Tycoon? How you doing, man?
And what up, Tyke?
Yes.
Jeez. And what up, man? Yeah, QB2 in the house. Let's go.
Absolutely. Call him up.
He's a favorite player on the team until they get called into action. So it's fun now. By the end of the show, we'll see.
We'll see how it goes. No, I have a good feeling about this one, man. Excited to have you here, man. Our boy from the fantasy boardroom in the house. Make sure you guys go check him out. Throw him a subscribe. Link is down in the description. So make sure you check it out, man. We are here for the Friday Start Sit show. It's going to be a lot of fun, man. Finally, week one is here, man. We had some football yesterday. We'll definitely get into that. But to let you guys know, Classic Mike hopefully will be back here on Sunday to do his Sunday morning active and active show. So whatever questions we can't help you with tonight, make sure you come back here Sunday morning. Then we'll be back with me and Frank on Monday. We'll be doing our overreaction show. So we'll overreact to everything that happened and then start touching on our waiver wire targets heading into week two. Then we'll basically do our Wednesday roster management show. Where we basically talk buy, sell, trade targets, how you want to kind of start, managing your teams once those waivers run through. And then we'll be back here Friday to do another start sit game by game breakdown. And then just keep repeating that process all the way through the end of the fantasy season.
Oh,
so
routine is back. Yes.
We are here, man.
I'm very happy.
Absolutely, man. So we're excited, man. So, time to roll those sleeves up, man. It's going to be a long show for you guys, so we'll get those things rolled up. We're going to discuss, of course, the takeaways from last night. Like I mentioned, we're going to do those game by game previews, discuss those injuries, who we're going to start, who we're going to sit because of that. Of course, we'll take your live Q&A throughout the show. So if you have questions, drop them in the chat. And if you are watching this later, I am going to drop the timestamps in there. So if you just want to skip to the game previews, specific players or, game you're looking for our feedback on, just jump in the description and check those out. All right. So we'll get into some of this other stuff here later. We'll do our reads and stuff later, man. I just want to talk some football already, man. So Thursday night football, let's do it. Finally got a real game. Fantasy points are on the board. We had a nice little upset, just when you think something's going to go one way, football just reminds you that we have no idea what's going to happen, man. So we get the upset with the Lions, right? Lions 21, Chiefs 20. What'd you take away from this game, man?
Honestly, there's not a ton that I took away. I mean, all right, fantasy-wise at least. Jahmyr Gibbs is legit. That's my first takeaway. This guy, while the fantasy output was maybe not what those who started him hoped, I think 7 points in PPR, that's going to increase. I mean, if you watch the game, you saw his explosiveness, you saw his ability to break tackles, you saw his speed. If he didn't slip on that run from the 9-10 yard line, easy house call. So he was, a slip away from an additional 6.5+ points. So
And then the interception happened right after that, right? Or was that when they brought Montgomery in and he scored?
It was, I think, a couple series after.
Okay.
But I think his role is going to continue to grow. It was just his first game as a rookie, and he just popped on the field. That was very clear. Montgomery is still going to get more volume, and I think that's
21 carries
stated. Now, I don't know what was it about 70-30 last night. I don't know if it's going to stay quite that heavy. Gibbs will chip into that. But as I think both of us have been saying during draft season, we want both Lions running backs. And I think that played itself out to a degree. There's going to be better offensive performances, more points scored by the Lions as the season goes along as well, especially in home games. So that's why I'm not freaking out about Gibbs after game one, because what we saw looked good. It's hard to take too much from the Chiefs, given they were missing Chris Jones, they were missing Travis Kelce. The takeaway is that the receiving core might be the worst receiving core in the league. People talk about the Patriots, the Giants. No. Or the Panthers. It might be the Chiefs.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Scary.
But I like my boy Rashee Rice, man.
He looked decent. Again, first game.
Look for him in the end zone. Yeah.
He got the touchdown. Yeah.
Yeah.
But not every play was so smooth. There's reason to be encouraged. Certainly, he looked the best amongst the receivers that we were able to see.
The best catch of the night, though, I think, was that MVS catch, though, that 34-yarder.
Oh, that was beautiful.
That was actually pretty nice. Yeah, I didn't even think he caught it at first. I was expecting the ball just to be flying away somewhere, and he got up and was like, "Oh!" And I was like, "Oh wow, he caught that." That was pretty good.
And while it's awesome that the Lions won, I mean, I love to see it. They did only score 14 points on offense against the Chiefs defense that was missing Chris Jones. So they were impressive. They did what they needed to do to win the game. They did benefit from a couple of massive mistakes by Kadarius Toney.
Yes,
but still, they still took advantage of those. So I'm not going to.
He lost them the game.
He did, but I'm not going to take that much away from the Lions. They still executed what they needed to do to take advantage of said mistakes and pull out the win. That is simply what happened. But I'm not going to go as far as to say, hey, yeah, how about those Lions? Everybody, that's what we were talking about. Oh, we got 12, 13 wins incoming. No, I think it was just encouraging to the tune of, I expect them to be in the 9-10 win range this year, probably win the North. And that's kind of what that told me. So it wasn't a big surprise or revelation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's surprising that they held them.
Amon-Ra's all they got.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they got, Reynolds, 4 for 80. Not too bad.
Okay.
I mean
stats,
until Williams comes back.
When you watch the game, what did Reynolds really do anything that was that impressive to you? Not to me.
Besides the fumble?
Wasn't that Jones? Also, his first career fumble.
Oh, that was
the age
right.
Of 33, which is damn
I
impressive,
thought that was
by the way.
Reynolds that fumbled it.
No, it was Jones. Marvin Jones.
Oh, man. Ooh, that's on me then.
So he had to be his 11th, 12th year in the league at this point, and his first career fumble. That's crazy.
Wow, that's pretty impressive. Came at a bad time, but they still ended up pulling out the win. What do you think about Laporta, man? 5 for 37.
In
there on
think
blocking
the volume
plays.
was encouraging, but he didn't break any tackles. Didn't really look particularly fast. It was so when he caught the ball, he didn't really do a whole lot with it. But the fact that Goff looked his way that often, I guess, is encouraging for Laporta owners. I'm still going to have nothing to do with him. He's a rookie tight end, so he just doesn't exist in my mind.
I started him in one league just because how I am with tight ends. I figured it's week 1. I can recover from it if it did go all bad.
Probably can. I mean,
trying to catch lightning in a bottle.
It's not a crippling out, but he can give you a donut. So 5 for 39, so 8.9 in a PPR league. That's
not too bad.
Usable.
Yeah, I mean for
a tight end.
You get him very late. I think I got him in like the 13th.
That'll probably finish as high tight end 2 territory. But actually, it might be low tight end 1 this week with all the injuries we have at the position to the top end. But most weeks it's probably a high TE2, in like that 13-15 range.
Right.
So you can live with that, especially
Absolutely.
at his cost.
Yeah, Justin Ross, I was hoping he was going to flash, but only 1 catch for 6 yards. But we'll see.
Everybody else sucking. We couldn't see any more Justin.
Right, but at least he had him in there. They had him in there in the red zone, which was encouraging. To have that trust to be able to come in.
Tony.
Yeah,
and Sky Moore.
For sure. Didn't cost them the game. Yeah, Sky Moore had that brutal drop in the last drive too. So, yeah. So again, like you said, Well, we could. I would love to talk all night on it, but we'll start to move on here. We got Kansas City hopefully redeem themselves next week against Jacksonville. Definitely excited to see this Jacksonville game. We'll get into that here soon. This weekend, can't wait to see this offense. And then Detroit will go back home, where, like you said, they do play a little better, going up against Seattle, getting Geno, Metcalf, Lockett, and JSN in the building. So we'll see what they can do there. Absolutely. So we'll got some folks in the chat. We got Drunk Squidward in here. What up, Squidward? How's it going, man? He did mention Gibbs has had a slow start, but good player. So he's seeing the same thing. We got Brooks in the house saying, "What up, chaps?"
Chaps, let's go.
Yeah, there you go. Christian Watson's out. Who should I start instead? Zay Jones, Marvin Mims, or Tank Dell?
Not Tank Dell. The correct answer is probably Zay Jones, but I
go Mims.
like to live on the edge. I'm going Mims.
Yeah, like if you're in that type of situation already, then I just go Marvin Mims and pray for the best on that one. Apparently, Drunk Squirter doesn't know Watson's out. He's been rolled out this week, so we'll get into that when we break down that game.
Hamstrings everywhere.
Yeah, hamstrings are crazy, man. I don't know why these guys don't stretch out. Like, what's going on? And then Brooks was saying, no, he also started Laporta. I wonder if I should keep him and start him next week. And yeah, he's saying he's talking about Laporta.
If you already have him, he did nothing to warrant dropping him.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was all encouraging. Like, you can't expect him to just come out and like put up Travis Kelce numbers right away, or even really ever. But hey, like you said, 5 for 34. You'd hope to get a touchdown. Maybe he could have got a touchdown when Jones fumbled. And then the game looks a little different, right? With another touchdown to Goff and another touchdown to Laporta, or even another one for Amon-Ra. Then he'd really be really would have boomed. So anyway, how many weeks until we were starting Richardson at QB? So what are your thoughts on Richardson? You firing him out right away?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I don't really have much of Richardson. While I understand the rushing will be appealing, I don't think the offense is going to score many points. So, I mean, the rushing will help give you a decent floor, but without touchdowns to accompany it, the ceiling is not going to be there. So, frankly, I don't see starting him this year on a consistent basis.
Right. And it's going to be hard to know when to start him, which is why I kind of avoided him. In all 17 of my managed leagues, I don't have any shares of him. I do have him in a couple best ball leagues because to me that's the better format for his style of play. And where he's at. Yeah, so to me it's worth it there. But yeah, in a managed league, you're just gonna be wondering when do I start him. But of course, there could become a time, but hopefully you drafted someone like a Geno or a Cousins or a Goff that you could throw in there. When drafting someone like Richardson, back behind. So yeah, I'm waiting a couple weeks to see how it plays out. All right, so let's get in our first game. What do you say?
The last comment real quick from Brooks.
Oh, 17. Oh, that's like nothing. That's like I'm just barely getting started.
40,
Tycoon. I was gonna say, Tycoon, tell the people how many managed leagues you're in.
Too many.
40.
Setting lineups, no big deal. Waivers, every Tuesday is hell.
So there you go, man. So 17 this year. I'm up from 10 from last year. So I feel like I'm on a steady incline. I'll be at 40 here in no time. You just I guess it's like what people say about like tattoos. Like if you're a tattoo person, like you get one and then you just have to keep going. Like once you started doing this and have an awesome community like this, and make sure you guys hit that subscribe button if you're watching, and if you're already subscribed, hit that like button for us. But once you meet a bunch of people like this, you can get a ton of different types of leagues, and so like that's what's awesome. I got my first auction league this year. Finally got around enough 11 other degenerates that want to get in an auction league. So that's really fun. And just pretty much all 17 of my leagues, a couple of them are fairly similar settings, but the majority of them are all completely different. Between Dynasty and Redraft. So it's it's a lot of fun. So I like the different styles of leagues and settings and trying to master them.
That's a good point. No, and I'm glad you mentioned Dynasty. I will say as a disclaimer, it is slightly easier to manage the number of leagues I'm doing, because I'd say a little over half of those are dynasties, and they're just easier to manage on a week-to-week basis, especially 90% of those are very deep roster where waivers is pretty much useless in those leagues. So you don't have to be scrounging for the week's hot pickup because there's only practice squad guys out there on the waiver wire anyway. So it's just a matter of keeping your lineup set.
Right. Or understanding what you're doing with your team and, working trades and stuff like that. Right. So absolutely. RIP to the Cooper Cup owners. We're definitely getting to that. So yeah, it's tough. We got Albert in the house. What's up, Albert? How's it going, man? Make sure you hit that like button for us. And then we got Josh still tripping off my 17 leagues. He's like, how do you deal with trade offers for 17 leagues? Trade guru over here, man. Check out GetRightFF.com, man. You'll see under my picture it says Trade Guru. That's what I do. There's nothing that excites me more than looking at my notification and seeing so and so proposed you a trade. Like
trading with you is horrible. Just for the record.
Everything. Well, yeah. I mean, I do have the nickname the dentist, and I do get that for a reason. So, yeah. But I will, if there is a certain trade, I will overpay completely if it's the right person, player, situation that I want. I will overpay. So I think that's why people keep trading me. So anyway, it's just once you find the right combination, then that's all it is. All right, so we'll get into it, man. So like you said, if you guys are checking this out later, if you want to jump in between to the different games, we'll timestamp those. So make sure you check out the description there. So let's get into this first game. Again, if you guys have any questions too, drop them in the chat. We'll get to them. So let's do it. We have Panthers Falcons lined open up at Atlanta by 3 with an over-under 43.5. Did drop a little bit down to 39.5 as far as the over-under, I believe, is where we're at now. And they still have Atlanta favored now by 3.5. So as far as injuries go for this game, you have Miles Sanders that was been dealing with the groin. He's going to be active. We did have Adam Thielen listed as questionable. He's been limited. Terrace Marshall, he's back. Looks like he's good to go. But DJ Chark has been ruled completely out. So what you think, Falcons, as far as we go, offensive players go, we're good to go. But who you starting, who you sitting, who you like here in this matchup?
Obviously, Bijan. Love Bijan. Rolling with Drake London. Probably Kyle Pitts, just because of the way the position is, willing to take a chance with him as much as anybody. Beyond that, I'm not excited about starting Ritter. If you have a very deep roster, a lot of starting spots, maybe consider Algier. And that's for the Falcons side. And frankly, on the Panther side, Miles Sanders is the only person I'm interested in starting. I have no interest in any of the receivers, nor Bryce Young in his first start against what I think is going to be an improved Atlanta defense, particularly the secondary.
Yeah, and of course, we know it's going to be run heavy on the Atlanta side, which is going to be limited plays, limited touches for the other team. So, then you're talking about they have to be very efficient. I think just, based on volume, I think they will, continue to feed Sanders, like you said. And I kind of just want to see, how these scripts and everything play out with this. So I pretty much agree with everything you're saying there. I can understand some people. What's that?
You said scripts? It's kind of a loaded word in today's NFL.
Oh, I guess. I guess so. Maybe takes. I agree with your takes there. But yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at. I was gonna say, I mean, maybe if you want to play Mingo, like I could see how some people might be in a situation where they may have to flex him, especially if Thielen is ruled out. Maybe there's an opportunity there for him to just have enough volume if they are a little behind. But yeah, for the most part, I agree with what you're saying there. And
not too appealing on the Carolina side.
Yeah. So let's see. Classic just says Terrace Marshall. He might think about as a sneaky flex start.
I thought he popped up
yeah.
on the injury report recently too. I'm gonna double check. I might be wrong. Marshall.
Yeah, he was he was dealing with a back.
Oh, but he was cleared. Okay, no injury designation for the game. All right, we're good.
Yeah. And then he also says Hayden Hurst might be a sneaky little tight end play as well if you're in a tough situation with maybe Waller or something like that. Yeah, I have him on a
Again,
few best
especially
ball
with the
teams too.
injuries at the position.
Right. There could be some targets there. Thing that hurts though is he wasn't really targeted, much in the preseason. When he was out with the ones, like I think he only had one target or maybe none, from what I recall. But we'll see. They were talking him up a lot, at camp, so maybe they just didn't feel the need to work on that in the preseason.
It's not universal, but rookie tight ends often like to lean on rookie quarterbacks like to lean on their tight ends.
Absolutely. All right.
And Bryce
So
is a smart kid.
Definitely. All right. So that should wrap up Panthers Falcons. So we'll move on here. We got Neanderthal in the house saying, "What's up, Tycoon? How's it going?" We got Drunk Squidward. Thanks for the advice, Tycoon, for the question I asked on Sleeper about trading Barkley for JSN and Mixon. So again, we got the Sleeper community. Make sure you guys go hit that description. You can join and get in there. It's kind of like our Discord, but we just keep it on Sleeper, a little easier. So it's no other additional app you have to download for now. It is free if you guys want to go check it out. And we're in there answering your questions basically 24/7. So get in there. And as you can see, Tycoon always drop his 2 cents in there. I'm usually in there as well too. So yeah. What else we got here? Patriots is saying considering stashing Mingo instead of Kincaid. What do you think about that?
I'd rather have Kincaid myself. I know I just got done, shooting down rookie tight ends, but he is the one at least tied to a truly elite offense, and reportedly may not be used that much really as an inline tight end, just a big slot receiver. We'll see how much that really comes to pass, but a lot more upside than Mingo presents, and that's really what I care about in terms of bench warmers.
Okay, would you take Jalen Reed or Alec Pierce over one of them, or over Kincaid?
Definitely not Pierce. Reed intrigues me, I'm not going to lie, but I'm probably still leaning Kincaid as a stash amongst those four.
Yeah, if Reed didn't get drafted in most leagues and doesn't get picked up right now because of the Christian Watson, Romeo Dobbs question marks that we'll get into here, and he has a big week, he could be easily one of the top waiver wire ads next week.
Sure, he's
so
not better than Dobbs anyways. So
yeah, so there you go. Hot take. Not that hot. He started picking up steam as we got closer here to your real drafts. So there you go. All right, so we'll get into the next game here. Again, you guys got any questions, drop them in the chat. We'll get to them. We have Texans Ravens. So we had the Ravens open up here at 9.5 point favorites with a 44.5 point over under. Right now it did drop a little bit down to 43.5. Looks like John Mechie is going to be out for the Houston side. And on the Ravens side, you got Mark Andrews that was been dealing with an undisclosed injury. It comes out it was a quad. He's been limited basically all week. He's questionable for Sunday officially. Odell popped up on that injury report yesterday with an ankle injury, but was seen, I guess, juggling a soccer ball. I don't know why he's playing soccer on a football field. Like, let's just work on your actual sport that you're playing. Yeah, I know. And he seems fine. But the big news here out of the injury report is Rashad Bateman up to full speed. John Harbaugh says he is good to go for Sunday, and I can't wait to see Bateman and Lamar. So give me your thoughts about this Texans Ravens game. Who are you looking at for your starts, and who are you sitting here?
I'm going to start with the sits because it's a lot easier. Sitting every Texan.
Okay.
Including Dameon Pierce. I am not starting Dameon Pierce. I don't roster Dameon Pierce on any teams, though. So that's pretty easy.
Out of 40 teams, no Dameon Pierce?
He would be tough. No Dameon Pierce. Too expensive. It's outrageous. 4th round or higher is insanity to me. So I have no Dameon Pierce. And actually, if you drafted Dameon Pierce, you probably do have to start him. He is certainly going to be one of your best options on your team. So I'm not really saying sit Dameon Pierce if you haven't, but I would temper expectations this week. I'm starting Andrews if he starts in the game. Obviously starting Lamar. Obviously starting J.K. Dobbins. Dobbins is going to have a tremendous week. Good Lord, I'm excited about Dobbins. I know Mike has some comments there, so we'll save for his notes. But yes, all the yes on J.K. Dobbins. I'm starting Rashad Bateman, baby. Obviously.
Let's go.
Not starting Odell Beckham. Not starting Zay Flowers. I'm starting Rashad Bateman. Just planting the flag there.
There you go. I'm with you, of course, with Bateman. I have him on a few teams, but I was able to draft him as a wide receiver 5. Again, if you're in a situation maybe with Cup or one of these guys, Christian Washington or someone down, and you did happen to draft Bateman, then I would feel comfortable getting him in the lineup. But as a wide receiver 5, I've drafted 3-4 other wide receivers that are at least perceived better than him. It really depend on the matchups. One person that I might consider, what I want to ask you. Do you have Bateman over like Hopkins this week, with Hopkins going up against New Orleans and potentially Marshawn Lattimore?
I do have Hopkins as a sit in that game, actually. Yes. If I really
as far as over Bateman,
higher,
though, yeah,
I'm probably starting Bateman. Yeah, as insane as that sounds.
That's crazy. Okay, no, I just I like to test.
Lattimore. That's really what it is.
Okay, and he always shuts Mike Evans down, so we'll see.
If it was DeAndre Hopkins 2-3 years ago, now I don't think Hopkins is washed. I think that's foolish.
Oh, yeah.
But he's certainly not going to win as much physically now, especially after 2 years kind of dealing with being dinged up. So and especially first game with Tannehill, all that, I'm taking the Lattimore side there.
There you go. So I'm with you there. I have Ravens. We didn't really talk about defense, but I do have Ravens defense as one of my top defenses.
Yes.
One of the ones I targeted if I could get
too.
the Commanders. So they're definitely one I'm targeting if they happen to be out there in this matchup, and we'll see. Of course, we got our boy over there, Miko Ryans. So hopefully that defense might be a little improved, but I think this offense is, should put up a lot of points here. Again, it's week 1. We saw maybe people might be rusty, and they're not in midseason form quite yet. So
I think it'll come together for D'Amico's defense there in Houston. But first week after just putrid a few years in a row, it's not going to be that overnight. So week 1 going up against the new look Ravens offense that I cannot wait to see.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm putting all the chips on the Ravens side. I'm taking that number. I'm taking the spread. They're gonna cover the 9.5. Yeah,
I think so too.
I always avoid anything over a touchdown. I don't always go against it, but I never take it.
Right. Yeah. And this one I could definitely see it. So you have a classic Mike saying he would flex start Zay Flowers in deeper like PPR type leagues, and I would even consider Singletary on the Texans side. So maybe assuming it's going to be more of a pass heavy type game, maybe they get Singletary in there and don't just run them in there. So it could be a sneaky little start there. So and then he's saying, of course, J.K. Dobbins for sure, one of the worst run defenses in the league, and he might even consider him in DFS this week as well too. So make sure you guys go check out the boardroom if you guys want those prop bets and stuff. That's what Tycoon likes getting into. So he'll reference it there. So we still got to work on getting you in for a segment. Just handling.
Can I throw one out here for this game?
Oh, please do. Anytime. Please do.
Because I actually went up. Dameon Pierce under 72.5 rushing and receiving yards combined.
Ooh, go get it now. There it is.
I liked it at 66.5 and it went up to 72.5. So it helped me out there, get a little more buffer.
There you go. All right. So we got we got an appearance by Dustin, man. He says this feels like a match made in heaven with you two heavyweights with the horrible hats. So we were gonna get some flack for rocking the Niners hats in here, man. But what's up, Dustin? How's it going, brother? We got Rafi in here. What's up, Rafi? Saying PPR, you doing Brian Robinson or Swift?
This is gonna be a shocker.
I was gonna say, look at the jersey
Brian
behind you.
Robinson.
Whoa, going with the Arizona matchup.
No, actual shocker. I'm taking the matchup. Patriots is not a good matchup for the Philadelphia offense and DeAndre Swift. Well, they'll have some success, and I think they'll still win the game. The Patriots are a tough defense. But I love DeAndre Swift, is obviously, and I don't want to say I hate him or anything, because Brian Robinson, the person, probably a great dude. So mid, jag, just that's what he's. I don't ever want to watch Brian Robinson play football. That's it, though. He's just Arizona's going to be one of the worst teams of the last 15 years, probably. So the volume he's going to get, I can't imagine a scenario where even Brian Robinson doesn't take advantage of it.
Yeah, he should have over 100 yards and maybe a touchdown or even 2 in this one.
I'm not going to get that crazy, but
I'm just saying maybe like that. It was more
it's
a
certainly
slight
on the table.
at the Cardinals more
Very
than my enthusiasm on Brian Robinson. I have Brian Robinson as my RB21 this week. Interestingly enough, I have DeAndre Swift as my RB22 right behind him. So that's where I'm at this week. So yeah. Appreciate that, Rafi. Again, you guys got any questions? Drop them in the chat. Go ahead.
I'm very bitter at Rafi though for asking me a Swift question where I didn't get to answer Swift. As the correct
well done.
answer. That upsets me so much. I hate you, Rafi.
Yeah, he says no suit, no stash. Who the fuck is this guy? It's the Evolved Tycoon.
Friday Tycoon, baby. That's
Casual Friday Tycoon, yeah.
Wearing the hat to continue the celebration of the signing of Nick Bosa.
Yes.
Had to rep the colors at work ahead of this weekend and the national celebration that is the return of NFL Sundays. So it's the mood, it's the vibe right now, Rafi.
Yes, sir. We got Will Hayes in the house. What's up, Will? He says, "What's up, guys? Who should I start, Aaron Rodgers or Daniel Jones?"
I'm going with UFO boy, Aaron Rodgers, man.
Aaron Rodgers. I think I do have Aaron Rodgers a little higher. I have him as my QB 15 this week, and I have Daniel Jones as my QB 17 going up against that Dallas defense, and that even seems a little high.
Yeah, it's a tough matchup, and the Cowboys have owned the Giants for like 5 years. So I'm not really going to expect this game to be the one that they finally get up for.
Yeah, I have Carr, Howell, Purdy, Pickett, Russ Wilson, Jimmy G, Anthony Richardson behind him. So I couldn't, I was like, all right, I'll start Daniel Jones ahead of those guys.
I'd easily start Carr over Daniel Jones. That's not even a question.
Really? All right.
Oh,
maybe.
Oh, yeah. Easy,
I have him back to back. So that's where I was kind of like, Tennessee. I guess, Tennessee defense kind of banged up. I might make that move right now that we're talking about it, actually.
Maybe Jimmy G. Not just kidding. I would say.
We won't do that. All right. So appreciate that. Josh is also asking to stash Bateman. So, yeah, definitely stash Bateman for sure.
If he's available, you get him immediately. Stash. For sure. What?
Yeah, he should definitely be sitting there as like your RB 5 or RB wide receiver 5. Yeah,
absolutely.
Be perfect.
So yes, is the short answer.
Absolutely. All right, so we'll get into it, man. Again, if you guys want to jump around, you can hit those timestamps. Hopefully, by the time you're watching it, we will have those in there for you. But the next game we have here is going to be Bengals Browns. Opened up at a Cincinnati at 2.5 point favorite with a 47-point over/under. Looks like it's currently dropped a bit to Cincy by 2 and a 47.5 point over/under. So that did increase a little bit. The big news out of this game, though, is Joe Burrow signs a massive 5-year, $275 million extension. That includes 219.01. They had to get the 01 in there, million guaranteed. Makes him the highest paid player in NFL history.
Should have been a quarterback.
Should have been a quarterback. Guys, girls, get your sons, daughters out there playing
raise
quarterback.
Your sons to be QB.
Or daughters. I don't even care.
Or daughters. Absolutely.
Yeah. Be a QB. Go make that money, man. Absolutely, man. So, and then after they do that, the day later they come out with the news. T. Higgins doesn't look like he's getting any extension there. Not believed to be in their long-term plans. What do you kind of think about all that? Give me your thoughts.
Not unexpected with Burrow. I mean, good Lord, is that a massive figure? But not unexpected. T. Higgins, no extension. Also, really wasn't that unexpected to me. But any reports of him not being in their long-term plans, I'm not sure that I really believe. I understand the price tag, obviously, that Burrow just commanded, and they're going to obviously pay Chase when the time comes.
Right.
But I really believe unless T is making some exorbitant, salary demands here, they'll find a way to make it work. I can't. it's really hard for me to fathom they're going to take away Joe's second best weapon, short of somebody else emerging. Maybe this year. Some depth player I'm unaware of on Cincinnati, but
Yeah, I don't even think I can name another wide receiver besides Tyler Boyd over there.
yeah, just Tyler Boyd. So got Trent Taylor. I know he went over there after he left the 49ers.
I remember
maybe he
Mike
breaks
Thomas
out.
was there forever. The other Mike.
Oh
Thomas.
yeah, Mike Thomas, the other Mike Thomas.
That's the only reason I know that.
So I don't know if I 100% believe that. I think he'll probably stay, but who knows? That's what I make of it. But good for them.
Yeah.
It's nice to see the Bengals actually do something correct as an organization, sign a franchise QB to the proper contract, not screw around, play hardball with your franchise, and just do it. They have a history of mistakes, so good to see them solidify the franchise for at least the next 5 years.
Yeah, shows that you find a nice quarterback and things can change your destiny, right? So there you go. Absolutely. So as far as the game goes, we're pretty much starting all Bengals that are drafted there. You're starting Burrow, you're starting Mixon, you're starting Chase, obviously, and
starting everybody.
You're starting basically everybody, and basically on the other side, you're starting almost all those as well. I think when the question marks come is Donovan Peoples-Jones, Elijah Moore. Are we really trying to flex these guys this week, or we kind of want to see what their roles are first?
Moore, yes. DPJ, no. For me. I think Moore is already the wide receiver 2 there.
Okay.
Yeah, what was I lost my train of thought. I had another thought that was going to go along with it. But I do think he is going to be the secondary option. Also, David Njoku, once again, referencing the injuries at the top of the tight end position, I think is going to be in a great position for a top 5 positional finish this week. I love this game for fantasy. I love this game for entertainment. I love everything about this game. Start all the players.
Irv Smith, got to ask you. Speaking of tight ends.
No. The answer's never Irv Smith.
Okay. I just had to make sure, just for the people that were wondering.
So he's the one guy I don't start. I didn't
all right,
get that
there you
far.
go. I mean, you said everyone, so I just had to make sure we covered it.
Sneaky. I like the Browns to win outright.
Ooh, wow! Not even just to cover, to win outright, huh?
Outright.
Very nice.
The Bengals start slow.
They do.
Typically.
Last 2 years,
at least in the
started
Burrow
slow.
era, they have. Well, they start. They played slow the whole season before Burrow, but even with Burrow, they still kind of start slow.
Right. So we'll see how it goes. Classic saying he feels like it's a Boyd game. Obviously, Mixon, Chubb, wide receivers are all good to go. There you go. And saying Elijah could be a good PPR start as well. So it sounds like he's with you as well. All right. So we'll get on to the next game here. We have Jags at the Colts. We have Jags opened up at 3.5-point favorites with the 43.5-point over-under. It then extended to a 5-point favorite and a 46.5-point over-under. Looks like Zach Moss is going to be questionable, so we'll see if it's a Deion Jackson, Evan Hull game over there. Looks like on the Jag side, they're all good to go. I know we're definitely pretty high on most of the Jags that aren't named Zay Jones. And even in maybe a risky spot start, you could throw Zay Jones in there, but I don't think you need to do those kind of things week 1. But yeah, so what are you thinking? What's going on in this game?
I feel like it's a cop out with some of these games, but it's a start all the Jags, sit all the Colts kind of game, much like Texans and Ravens. I think it's going to be a big week for the Jaguars. I do not expect really anything from the Colts. I think Pittman is maybe the only person I even consider starting on the Colts. Anthony Richardson in Superflex, perhaps. But no interest in the backfield, no interest in any of the receivers. Jelani Woods is on IR, so there goes that one Colts player that I had hoped for. Jonathan Taylor's on PUP. Not much to like there. On the flip side, because the Colts are going to be so terrible and the Jags are on the continued descent, Trevor Lawrence, Calvin Ridley, Christian Kirk, Travis Etienne. It's Evan Ingram.
No brainer.
Start them all.
There we go.
I would hold the phone on Bigsby to start, at least for week 1, see what happens. But this might be an interesting game to gauge him, outside of preseason. I think there's a good chance the Jaguars built a comfortable cushion and Bigsby does see a bit more action in the second half of this game than he
Could be.
might normally see over ETN. If the score gets a bit out of hand, which I
Right.
really think there's a chance happens.
I see it being a very similar situation to our Niners like backfield with CMC and Mitchell. Like if we can just build enough lead, like there's no point in running him, late in the game if you do
Yeah.
kind of have it in hand, so to speak, or just to kind of take some of the load off of them if you do, have some clock killing time, in between the 20s, so to speak. And then, the interesting thing to see, I think, is how they are going to split up that goal line. That everyone's been talking all off season about, they brought in Bigsby because of all the inefficient advanced metrics with ETN in the red zone or goal line carries. And they brought in the guy that basically plugs those holes as far as ETN's deficiencies. So I'm definitely interested to see how that plays out. But it was promising to see during the preseason to see ETN get those, goal line carries. Scored, I think, twice in the preseason from within the 5.
And he had a couple called back
yeah.
in the regular season last year as well.
True.
So those
And
numbers
that one
need-
horrible
I
drop
don't-
was terrible.
Yeah. Well, the drop too, but I mean, even just
Yeah.
in the inside the 10 and 20 carries, or inside the 10 and 5 carries even. So, but yeah, that drop. Oh man, that would have set everything off so beautifully at
Right.
the beginning.
Kind of gave him the yips, I think, a little bit after that. So we'll see if he comes
I
back
think it did a
stronger.
little. I think you're actually right. But I also think not only for those reasons they brought in Bigsby, and Bigsby's just better than the other depth they had as well. Jermichael Hasty, for instance.
Right.
Bigsby's just better than him.
Right. And we're still probably going to get some annoying usage out of Agnew. I wouldn't be surprised to see him have a game here or there.
And
score
he's
a
not on the
touchdown.
team for no reason, unfortunately.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens there. All right. So what else? Classics just agreeing. Don't start any Colts players except for Pittman, possibly in PPR. So he pretty much agrees with you there. And I know he's a Jags supporter as well. So he's saying start all those guys too. All right. So we'll move on. Yeah, we got Robert saying, "What's up? Good evening." Rafi, as I brought up during that take, he has that T-Law Ridley stack, baby. So we're excited to see that. He says, "I think Tank will have a better game than ETN. Jags will get up by 2+ scores, and we'll just pound out the clock. Got him in a daily lineup." So there you go.
A better game, but this could be one of Bigsby's better games, not counting potential touchdowns. Those are a little more random, but just in terms of general production. Because, I do think we'll see more probably in this game for that reason.
Right. He said it'll be interesting to see who wins snap count between Javonte and P. Ryan. So we'll definitely get into that coming up here soon. And then Brooks is saying Bud Light, Coors Light, or Miller Light. I would just switch Miller Light with Coors Light, and that's probably my order. But I don't prefer any of those. I'd rather usually have a bitter beer. But times
Lagunitas.
There's times. Yeah.
You guys can sponsor me, by the way, Lagunitas. Just so you know.
We
of
are
those
open to
three, I
sponsors.
actually like Coors Light the best. They're all basically the same, but
Yeah.
I like my Mountains Blue. What can I say?
Oh, there
There's
you go.
nothing wrong with some Bud Light with the boys at any point.
Yeah.
Ever.
Whoever's paying us, that's who we'll go with.
But
All
Miller's
right,
always best.
I don't know. I could do like an MGD or like a Miller's Light. They usually have some good deals, so that's why.
Give me a
like
High
them.
Life I can get on board, but get that.
Oh,
Miller
maybe
Lite.
that's what I'm thinking.
I like the High Life.
Yeah, that's right. So it's Miller High Life or MGD, but I don't like
Miller Lite.
Miller Light. No, I mean I don't want to say that. Sorry.
MGD's okay.
Yeah, it's
That was actually
okay.
the first beer I ever had was an MGD.
There you go. Michelob for the win. I know a lot of people like
Michelob.
Modelo's too.
I love Modelo.
there
Have it in
you
the
go.
fridge right now.
There you go. Good beer talk. All right, so we'll move on. Next game on the radar here is going to be Buccaneers at the Vikings. Open up at a Vikings by 6.5. It looks like it's sitting at Vikings by 5.5 now. Over under hasn't changed. 45.5 points in this one. We have no real injuries in this game to really talk about. The big news, of course, is just Mike Evans seeking this new deal, saying he wants to be a Buck for life. But things are being held up. Of course, after yesterday, been hearing a bunch of stuff this morning about him potentially being linked to Kansas City in a possible trade. So kind of what are your thoughts about that? And tell me who you're starting to send in this one.
Well, that would make a lot of sense. and also not to go back to that too much, I was pounding the table for Kansas City to sign Nuke, DeAndre Hopkins.
Yes.
Clearly something they should have done. But so trading for Evans would make a lot of sense. They really need somebody. The sense from reports I've been reading with Evans is that, yeah, since there was not a contract by this deadline that he imposed, that, yeah, he's not going to stay. So if he doesn't stay, this season's probably going nowhere for Tampa. It would make sense for them to move him for what they can get for him. As far as who to start, I'm going to read Mike's notes for this one because it's my literal exact thoughts.
Go right
Godwin,
ahead.
White, and Evans, good to go. No Baker. Exactly how I feel about the Buccaneers.
I agree.
Happily start those three, particularly Godwin.
I have Evans a little down. Like there's some guys I'll take over Evans, but I kind of drafted them that way as well too. But yeah, I'm okay starting him in this.
It's more that
the
Vikings
matchup.
are just so poor.
Yeah,
I
they're
could
just-
see Baker taking a shot and like just one long touchdown for Evans would make his day, and I could
Right.
I could see that happening, so I'm comfortable playing him for that purpose. But Godwin's going to be the target monster. He'll produce. And on the Vikings, start everybody. I'm not Addison. I'm a little hesitant on in game one. I often am with most rookies. I kind of want to see where it goes. His line in Vegas for receptions is at 3.5, so I don't know how much he's really going to do with 3 or 4 catches. So he might be the one guy. I sit down. Kirk, Hawk, Jefferson, obviously. I mean, those are no-brainers. Even
Right.
Madison, I'm happy to play this week. Addison's the one guy that, yeah. Oh, actually, that's also what Mike said. Holy crap, me and Mike are agreeing a lot right now.
Wow. It's like Mike. It's like you're here.
Yeah, sweet. See, I can.
It's like you're here.
I'm Mike
It's a
by
perfect
proxy.
villain. Yeah. That's why we called you up. We'll call you Classic Tycoon now.
Hey,
The
well,
Classic Tycoon.
when you choose on a QB2, you want them to emulate the style of your QB1 as much as possible, right?
Right. So he just tagged you in. It's perfect. It's like the Legion of Doom. Fucking animal, right?
Why do you
All
gotta
right.
bring them up?
Dating myself. I was gonna say I'm dating myself there. All right. So yeah, I pretty much agree with what you guys are saying there. I gave my take in there. Like I said, or like you're saying too, like I'd rather wait and see, where you drafted Addison. If you're really in a pinch, maybe you lost Cooper Kupp and you have to call him up into your flex spot as you shift your wide receivers up.
Yeah.
I don't mind that. I'd take a shot on
Even
it.
if you have to play them, but there are definitely
Yeah.
better options. That's all.
Yeah, and it just again depends on your build, but most of the time I think in most mocks or drafts he was like my wide receiver 4 and or wide receiver 5, I guess you would say. He'd be like
4
my
or
first
5,
bench
depending.
wide receiver. Yeah, just depending on the build or the league. 3 wide receiver, 2 wide receiver, 2 flex, whatever it is. But yeah, if you have to shift guys up, that's why you drafted him that way. So I'd rather take a flyer on him than like pulling Jalen Reed off the waiver wire and starting him.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
So just I think people kind of overthink things sometimes. They want to pull some guy off the waiver wire just because someone's hurt and stepping into their place. It's like, no, that guy's not really a starter. Like if he's only
Bingo.
starting and are interesting because now someone got hurt in front of him, like, yeah, there's times when that works, but week 1, you should have drafted your team to withstand one injury, to a position, So again,
Yeah,
if you
no,
guys were
poor
drafting
drafting
with
if
us
you're-
here
You're scraping for waiver wires to start on week
on week 1, yeah, that's or just a series of bad luck. Like there's those things happen, but for the
That
most
too.
part, you should be able to withstand
If you
1 or
drafted
2.
early and took Cup and Judy and JT and yeah, okay, maybe you
Right. Then yeah, you're kind of screwed. Yeah. So anyway, all right. So that's my PSA for that one. We got some other folks popping up here in the chat. We got Warrior Lofton here asking Cowboys defense versus Giants or Seahawks defense versus the Rams. I don't think you could really go wrong on either one of those.
Cowboys for me.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'd probably take the Cowboys though.
Part of the thought there is if you watch much NFC West football, the Rams own the Seahawks. Doesn't matter who's on the teams. The Rams, time and time again, just even when they don't win, it's always close.
Yeah, those things are
They
weird.
play them tough, and the NFC West is weird. Up until like a year or 2 ago, it was very consistently Seahawks own the Niners, Niners own the Rams, Rams own the Seahawks, and the Cardinals don't matter. So that's like,
Well said.
but like clockwork, man. It's crazy.
Wilson.
So yeah, I'm
Wilson.
never gonna go overconfident on the Seahawks versus the Rams ever.
There you go. All right, so we got Cadillac in the house. What's up, Cadillac? How's it going? You guys got questions? You guys got answers you want question? You guys got questions you want answers to? Jeez. But we're gonna have to shut this thing down early tonight.
You got answers, we got questions. Yes.
Yeah, perfect. So we'll play some Jeopardy tonight. So yeah, all questions that come in from here on out need to be asked in the form of an answer. So let's do it. We got Rafi adding that Baker loves him some Godwin, and he'll have 300 targets this year. So I'm more like 290, but if you want to say 300, but tomato. Yeah, exactly. We're just splitting hairs there. All right. So we'll get on to the next game here, man. We got Titans at the Saints. We have the Saints opening up at 3.5-point favorites with the 42-point over/under. Did drop down to just a 3-point favorite currently here and a 41.5-point over/under. We have Keandre Miller coming in questionable. Obviously, Kamara's out with suspension. Looks like we mentioned it earlier. Lattimore's going to play dealing with a knee injury. It's going to be his first matchup against D-Hop since 2019. Traquan Smith is out as well. On the Titans side, you have Burks off the injury report, dealing with that LCL injury a few weeks ago that he suffered in practice. So what are your thoughts here, Titans, Saints? Who you starting? Who you sitting?
We'll start with the Saints. I'm starting Derek Carr, starting Chris Olave, obviously, and I'm starting Michael Thomas.
Let's go.
I will admit that is less backed by evidence, data, research, anything that I've done for this week. Michael Thomas is strictly a vibes play. I just believe in the music that him and Derek Carr can make. So most of my decisions are not based on feeling this one 100% is. So I just want to be very clear about that with Michael Thomas to not mislead anybody. But I think it's going to be a big day through the air for these guys. I'm not starting Jamal Williams in this game, despite the absence of Kamara and Kendra Miller being questionable, kind of banged up.
Titans front's a little nasty on the defensive side.
That's why I think they'll just try and get the ball out quick, which also I think benefits Michael Thomas a lot. Slant boy is going to be running them slants all day. And on the Titans side, Derrick Henry is the only player I'm really enthused about. And if you need to, again, maybe if you have an injured receiver above, look at somebody like Kupp. Treylon Burks, I'm interested potentially in starting with the expectation that Hopkins is going to get most of Lattimore's attention. Then
start the guy opposite
the ball's going to have to go somewhere. Demario Davis is still on the Saints, right? So I'm not really thrilled. So I'm not really thrilled about Chig Okonkwo this week either. Knowing that, I think this is actually going to be a pretty comfortable win for the Saints. I like that 3-point line. I think they'll cover.
Okay. You think Juwan Johnson does anything in this game, or even Taysom Hill? I gotta ask for the people. I
know. I don't have a strong feeling one way or the other about. Well, certainly, I'm not starting Taysom Hill at this point. They changed him on the depth chart to quarterback. I don't know if you saw that. Caused some controversy with some of the large national tournaments like the FFPC. So I don't know what their plans are with him really now at that position. I mean, I still imagine he's going to get his gadget usage, but that seemed to indicate to me that maybe a little bit less than in the past. Maybe I'm misreading that. Very possible, but I would actually need to go back and kind of take a look at how the Titans did against tight ends last year. Admittedly, that is something I didn't really check this week.
Fair, and I don't have that off the top of my head either. They're probably middle of the pack because I don't seem like I was ever avoiding it or attacking it. And I'm a heavy tight end streamer, so and I mean Tennessee's just been known as a pretty decent defense anyway. These last couple of years, so it's not really been a matchup that I usually attack as a when I'm streaming the tight ends. So I think they're probably mid. But again, that was just like you said. We're going pure off feeling apparently in this one. It's what us analysts have to do sometimes.
Yes, sometimes admittedly, this game did not get a bunch of extra attention from me. As I dug into week 1, this one probably got as little time as any outside of like Ravens and Texans. I mean, that was an easy one.
For sure. So we got FF Season in the house. What's up, Season? How's it going, man? Great to have you in here, man. Thanks for checking out the stream. We already mentioned Rafi's comment here. Yeah, I need to cut myself off. Do I try to upgrade at wide receiver or running back? It's an 8-man league. He has Barkley, Walker, Hall, Pacheco, Mostert, Garrett, Olave, Deontay, Hollywood, Johnson, and Dotson.
And an 8-man.
I'd just like to say if there's anything you can do to go get Kelsey right now, maybe if the Kelsey owner's panicking, I'd easily package 2 for 1 to get him. Obviously, you don't want to like send out Barkley or Garrett. You know, the whole idea in 8-man is to get as many elite players in your starting position as possible.
If there's any way to package up some of these guys for another,
don't worry about depth.
Walker and Brees to get, a Bijan and Eckler, even a
Chubb. Yeah, it's like just do it.
Like that's something I would do
for sure. So again, 8-man, you just want to basically focus on getting as many elite players you can in those starting positions, because there's always going to be depth on the waiver wire for the most part. So you'll always have someone to go to if one of those guys do go down for a little while. So there you go. We're saying thanks for his defensive question up there. So of course, I appreciate you coming out, checking out the stream. Make sure you guys are subscribing. Hit that subscribe button for us. If you're already subscribed, hit that like button. Helps us just as much. We'll keep getting your questions here. Just drop them in the chat if you have any. And apparently Rocky's saying the toilet bowl. So
I was going to say the taxslayer.com bowl, something like that. But
there you go.
The Outback Bowl, I don't know. Buffalo Wild Wings Bowl.
There you go. Ooh, see, with the name drop, I like it. All right, so we're open if Buffalo Wild Wings, if you want to come talk to us. So we come as a package deal, though. Yeah,
it's a great place. Just the food's not that good. The beer and atmosphere, though, A+.
The ambiance is fantastic.
Yeah.
keep it
great
flowing.
Service.
There you go. Oh, love it. All right, man. So let's get to the game of the week. I know the one we're talking about, the one we're waiting for. Most importantly, man, this is the game that I know you and I definitely have circled on the calendar and can't wait for it to happen. We got Niners at Steelers. I think the best part is playing at the Steelers is we get to see it as a 10 o'clock game, right?
Yeah, let's start the day.
I didn't put the times here. I was going to say that, so that'll be nice. So there we go. San Francisco started out at +3 or -3, favored by 3 with a 41.5 point over under. Then we dropped down to a 2.5 point favorite somehow after the Nick Bosa signing. So I don't understand.
Actually, all the way to 2 and then came back to 2.5.
Oh, is that what happened? Oh, okay. See, I didn't even follow it. So that's what I mean. So it's kind of weird. I guess we got a 0.5 point for the Bosa signing. I thought I would at least get us back to the full 3 point favorite. But either way, we got George Kittle questionable. Maybe that's why. Of course, Bosa's back, like we talked about already. Steelers side of the ball, they look pretty healthy coming into this one. Good defense. Interesting on the offensive side, to see what they can do against our defense. But yeah, tell me your thoughts about this game and who you're starting and sitting on this one.
So I'm not even going to lie. I think this is going to be kind of a tough test for our boys to start the year, just because I think Tomlin will have his team prepared, ready to play. We played the starting units in all 3 preseason.
All preseason,
games.
Yeah.
So now, I think one of the games was only 1 drive, but it doesn't matter though. He's preparing these guys, and it makes sense because very young core, especially offensively.
Right.
So it's certainly nothing we can take lightly. I think. By contrast, the Niners training camp, well, we only got a couple of drives of Brock Purdy. Granted, he looked very sharp in his drives, but still pretty limited, and he's been, working his arm and elbow back to strength throughout camp. But there has been a lot of distraction and drama and a lot of various points through 49ers camp, and just I personally haven't been getting the best vibe and aura from our team. Now, once Trey was gone, and once Bosa signed in particular a couple of days ago, I think a lot of that's calmed down a little bit, and I feel much better. Don't get me wrong. And my expectation is, in fact, that the 49ers will win. I do think they will do well, but I don't think this is going to be a runaway. by any stretch. I think the 2.5 line, 3 line is very fair. So I probably wouldn't touch that. Now on the fantasy starts and sit side, I am starting all the Niners from Purdy to McCaffrey to Debo to Ayuk to Kittle if he's active. If Kittle
They
is
can't
active,
all eat though, right? I was gonna say one.
No, they
someone's
can't.
not
No,
okay.
and that's my next point. So between Debo, Ayuk, and Kittle, though, if you drafted any of these guys, you're pretty much going to be starting them on a weekly basis, and you also drafted them with the knowledge that on a week-to-week basis, one of those three is probably going to give you a bit of a dub. So, but that said, with their cost generally in drafts, it's very rare that you're ever going to not start them.
Right.
So you got to start them. And also
I got a couple
their
best ball
ceiling
teams with
on a
Debo at
weekly-
like my wide receiver 3.
That's amazing. No, but seriously, but the ceiling for any of these guys, if they become, the apple of Brock's eye for the day, is very, very high. So you really can't ever sit them. And shoot, even in a deeper league, flexing Eli Mitchell, I don't, really hate at all. So you just start all the Niners. If you're one of the Debo, Ayuk, or Kittle owners, one of you three will probably walk away this week disappointed, but don't worry, your week will come here very soon.
Yeah.
On the Steelers side, really just the receivers. That's all I'm interested in. Deontay and Pickens. That's it. I have no interest in anything else. I have no.
Where you drafted him?
Hell no. Fred Warner versus Pat? Get out of here. No.
I have to do it from this seat, Tyker, and I have to do it.
Is going to shut that bum down. Oh, get out of here with Pat. Oh,
we have some biased opinions. Full disclosure on this one.
Objectively, Fred Warner is the best coverage linebacker in the NFL. That is.
I've gotten arguments about
no bias. Yes. Well, other people are incorrect. So no, I have no interest in Pat. It might seem kind of a bit of an oxymoron, saying take Pickens and Deontay without taking Pickett. I think Pickett would be prone to some mistakes, but I, as we know, the 49ers secondary can be prone to the big pass play, which certainly would favor Pickett, and Deontay is going to get his target, or Pickens, and Deontay will get his targets and volume.
Right.
So, and
we haven't been that great against wide receivers, and I think like in a super flex, I think Pickett is worth stuff with these names. Pickett is worth starting in a super flex for sure.
Flex, yes.
I feel okay with him, and like you said, the wide receivers. But yeah, definitely staying away from Najee. Warren might have some sneaky upside, but like you said, our linebackers have good coverage. So, the main thing is going to be how rusty is Bosa, so to speak.
Really, how many snaps on the field for?
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Yeah. So that could be their only saving grace.
Optimistically, I'm hoping he plays 50% of snaps. That would be awesome, and I would be very happy with that.
And then just going back to the Fairmouth thing. If you drafted Dalton Kincaid, are you starting Kincaid over Fairmouth this week?
Over Fairmouth this week? Yes.
Okay.
Not with a lot of confidence because that's a tough matchup against the Jets too. But
right. But these, I'm just trying to think of like where you drafted Fairmouth and where you could have got Kincaid. That might be an actual setup somebody has. What about a Luke Musgrave? And maybe you went.
No, I would still start Pat over Luke.
Okay, I just wanted to check, with the question marks there at the wide receiver position.
Yeah, no, this is a situation where if you took Freiermuth, you probably took him in the tight end 7 to 9 type range in all likelihood. Right.
Somewhere between the 6th and 8th, 6th, 7th, or 8th.
Very possible that you drafted a second tight end. Maybe you took Tyler Higbee or somebody like that. I would look that way instead of Pat this week.
Okay, fair enough. Classic saying same thing, start all Niners, enjoy it, he says. So thanks, Classic, for that.
Oh yeah.
We all know he's a big Kittle fan as well too. Steelers, unless you have better options, Harris, Deontay, Fairmouth, and Pickens can be started, but lower your expectations. I think the only two that you can trust are Deontay and Harris. I said Fred Warner, Hufanga versus Youth is going to be rough, and PPR. It's hard not starting Deontay. So, we know he's been big on Najee this whole off season, but he ain't running nowhere with his inefficiency. against this defense, man. It's not happening.
No, best rush defense.
I'm sitting Najee this week. Look elsewhere. Would you start Khalil Herbert over Najee?
Yes.
What about Rashad White over Najee?
Yes.
What about? How can I push the envelope a little more?
I don't normally do weekly rankings, but
Raheem Mostert.
Yes. Chargers defense rush defense was horrible last year.
Okay.
God awful. I think it was the worst in the league besides Houston. So, give me Raheem.
Jamal Williams
a lot of points
or Najee?
No. That's where I draw the line. We're going Najee.
All right. So I literally have Najee 31 and Jamal Williams 32.
So we have the same
That's
line.
funny. Yeah, that's hilarious. All right. And then I have Pierce and AJ Dillon right ahead of Najee, along with Mostert, Herbert, James Cook, Pacheco, Akers, both Washington running backs, so on and so forth.
Good
All
with
right.
that.
So there we go. All right. So there you go. Niners Steelers. Had to spend a little extra time on that one. So got some other stuff going on in the chat here. We have Season asking Seahawks or Jags defense this week.
Jags all day. Jags That's not even close in my eyes.
Yeah, so Jags, Indy, Seahawks, Rams, right?
Yeah.
And that's because you have the understanding of how the Rams kind of own the Seahawks from a national perspective, so to speak. Like maybe people who aren't as into it, do you think you could see why they would lean?
Yes, I
Seahawks
think the national perspective is that the Rams are not going to be good this year. People are very optimistic high on the Seahawks, and deservedly so for the Seahawks. But this is just a matchup that is always tight. It simply is. The Jaguars, on the other hand, have an opportunity to face off an extremely, extremely raw rookie quarterback. I mean, that is juicy for turnover potential.
Right.
And that's really what you want in your fantasy defense.
Pick six would be nice. You know, those Detroit. Whoever started that Detroit defense. Yeah, it was good.
I can see Anthony just getting a little frisky with the run, maybe not being as careful with the ball as he needs to.
Right.
And also, outside of Pittman, the skill talent is pretty weak and could also be prone to mistakes.
Right.
So that's
There you go. All right, Higsby over Goddard this week. Yay or nay?
Ooh.
Seahawks,
No,
I think, were
but barely
top 5 worst against the tight end last year, if not higher. They weren't very good.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But they do have Bobby Wagner back.
Goddard? They do. God, it makes me sick. Oh, Goddard's edging out Higbee for me this week still. I don't care that it's the Patriots. Just the quality of offense as a whole. I still have to take Goddard.
All right.
Especially as they integrate DeAndre Swift into the offense. So I actually think his role will increase, from week 1 moving forward. And I think some of his touches are going to be at the expense of Goddard's in particular. So for now, I'm still very much in on Goddard.
I think with the draft stock you put into Goddard, you pretty much got to start him week 1.
Yeah.
Can't get too cute early.
I agree.
He says, I'm starting Pickens even if Judy's healthy on the bench. It's kind of worrisome. Those hamstrings could just flare up anytime.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
With that, even if he's playing, it doesn't mean he's healthy. The soon after the hammy, I'm totally okay with keeping him on the bench. And I love Judy for the year, but hamstrings are always whoa, hold on.
Right. Yeah, those are the one things, you're just like, Like, I'd rather have like a LCL sprain and have him play on that.
Pretty much anything besides a hamstring or a high ankle. Otherwise, give it.
Then you're good. Those are the ones you got to look out for. Oh, and calves. Calves are basically right there. Same type.
Yeah. Just
different part of the leg. That actually is a muscle, though, as we found out in our pregame.
Inside jokes. Love it.
Yeah, so there you go. All right, so Mega Brick's in here. What's up, Mega Brick? New name to me. If you're new, hit that subscribe button for us. We're trying to hit 1,000 subscribers, man. Help us get there if you can.
Inappropriate things.
Oh, okay. Sometimes I'm oblivious to these things. I'm a little older, so I'm not hip with the lingo, but we'll see. It almost reminds me of Drop Dead Fred, actually. Just kind of a different version of that. But anyway, Full PPR, you got to sit one. You're sitting Waddle, Higgins, Godwin, or Dotson.
Dotson would be my. I mean, I don't want to really sit any of these guys, but Dotson is the one to sit.
To me,
despite the matchup, it's these are all guys I would love to be starting this Sunday.
Yeah, I could see how I could want to go maybe Dotson over Godwin, but I just like the targets that Godwin's going to potentially get over Dotson. I don't think they'll really need to throw as much. They can run that out. I see it being more of a Gibson,
Terry's back.
Brian Robertson game. Yeah, Terry's off the injury report, so I'd roll with your top three that week, and let's just see what Dotson does. And I'm one of the biggest Dotson fans.
Yeah, exactly. If
I have a lot of
Ross
Dotson.
does this.
Yeah, I'm even sitting him, but I usually get him again as my first bench receiver, so I don't feel like I'm in that position. Now, if you had Cup go down, but obviously he doesn't have that situation with the guys ahead of him, then yes, I would shift Dotson up in the in that hierarchy. But other than that, I want to see how Sam Howell is this first week against some real defenses and see what goes on. So we got Brooks saying Saints D versus the Titans. I love when you guys do that when you tell us who the matchups are. And we could just answer you right away. Definitely helps. So Saints D versus the Titans or Falcons D versus the Panthers? I think I'm Falcons against Panthers.
I am leaning. The Saints have a better defense, but based on the matchup, again, facing a rookie is in their first start ever is always very, very attractive. So give me the Falcons.
Right. And, Tannehill isn't a bad quarterback. He's decent. He has Nook. He has
Henry. He's a good quarterback.
That's still a lot of stuff to defend. They were still made the playoffs last year, even with they missed the playoffs last year, right? But playoffs 2 years before.
Yeah, they did.
Oh, they were still playoff last year. Oh, that's right.
No. Oh, did they? Oh.
Oh no, they didn't. Yeah.
No,
but
yeah,
the 2 years before they were.
Yeah.
That's right, because Tannehill got hurt. Yeah, and they did that whole Malik.
No,
and Josh
Tannehill, I think, is
situation.
one of the more underrated quarterbacks in the league since he's been in Tennessee.
Yeah. So there you go.
Want him, but he's better than I think public opinion says. That's all.
So there you go. All right, we got Brooks also telling Cadillac, don't make that mistake, man. Stick with Goddard. So he's in agreement there. We got Eric in the house. What's up, Eric? New name to me here. Appreciate you jumping out here. If you're new to Get Right Fantasy Network here, hit that subscribe button for us, man.
Start there in the thumbnail. All right.
Absolutely, man. If you're already subscribed, hit that like button for us. We'd appreciate that as well. It works just as much as a subscribe. He's asking Dalvin Cook or Jordan Addison at the flex. Dalvin Cook, we'll get into it here shortly, but it looks like he is going to be active. No restrictions on that shoulder surgery. Looks fully recovered at this point. He's a full go. You going with Cook or Jordan Addison at the flex?
You first this time.
All right, I'm going to go Dalvin Cook on this one. So yes. I'm still sitting Addison. Yeah. So again, with these rookies, unless you're like Jamar Chase or Justin Jefferson, where you just kind of come out of the block, hitting dingers, so to speak. Usually these guys, just like Amon-Ra St. Brown, Christian Watson, Odell Beckham, when he first, broke out, it's usually second half, of the season. Let these guys get a couple games under their belt, let them get worked in the offense, earn the coach's trust to earn their opportunity into the game plan. However, if you are in a pinch, there should be targets available for him based on those vacated targets from Adam Thielen. Again, maybe if it's full PPR, I can see maybe if you want to throw Addison in there, if you want to get cute. But if you're just looking for a nice, I think, floor, I think Dalvin will get the main share as they work Brees back in. I think you'll see a similar breakdown like between, what Gibbs and Montgomery had last night.
It's not a bad analogy. Yeah, no, I think clearly the Cook signing was a signal. I don't take it as far as a sign that Brees isn't going to be healthy this year in each stretch like that, but I think it's a sign that they plan to ease him in the first few weeks for sure.
Right.
So yeah, he'll get the majority of the backfield work as it currently reads. And Buffalo is a good defense, but the rush defense is far from shut down. So he'll have his opportunities, especially now that teams will have to respect the passing attack from the Jets for the first time in God knows how long.
Right. Yeah, so it's definitely one of the games I'm very interested to see. So, like you said, it's a weird mix of games this week. There's a ton that I'm like, I could do without, and then there's a ton that I want to see based on all the changes. So I'm just excited, man. Can't wait to get started. We got kind of like in the house saying start one at the flex, Deontay, Dotson, Mostert, or Hollywood. To me, this is an easy Deontay.
Easy.
For me. Okay, so we won't spend too much time there.
Mostert second, then Dotson, Hollywood should not be anywhere near lineups. Not this week for sure.
I might throw Dotson in there over Mostert. I think, that Miami game might be a little bit of a shootout, though. Obviously, with Wilson being hurt and A-Chain being banged up.
And all the subtext just with Tua and Herbert, man, I think these guys are going to be out.
Yeah, we'll get into that game there soon. But yeah, I think it's a no-brainer if you're just starting one, go Deontay. So we don't have to worry about the rest of them. All right, so we got Jay Media in the house. What's up, Jay Media? Fellow brethren here of the Niner gang. He says, what's up, fellas? Ant Tycoon. I had to stop by for an emergency. We got Darren Waller is questionable. Yes, he is. Came up on the report here, injury report with a hamstring. He's like, what the F, sheesh. Who you guys suggest
I'm with you, Jay.
from the wire? For real, man. So it didn't take long for Waller to end right back up on the injury report. This thing we've been saying, he's missed so many games. I don't have any shares of Waller. I wasn't drafting him this
so many.
Season. Oh man. So yeah. So I'll default to you on this one. Who are you looking to pick up in those 40 leagues where you have half probably Darren Waller shares? Who are you looking to grab?
It's not that heavy, and it is way more. All right. It is way more in redraft though than Dynasty. Although I'd probably call my main Dynasty league, I did just make a big trade for Waller a couple of weeks ago. It was the only weak spot on my roster. I was able to get him for the cost of Michael Thomas and Jacoby Myers. I was like, hell yeah, we're doing this.
Oh wow!
And then this happened. So Dawson Knox, your time to shine, baby.
Oh, he's going Knox, huh?
Well, that's I had Dawson Knox and Hunter Henry on
just on that
I
team.
traded one of them also along with Thomas and Myers. So I either am throwing in Hunter Henry or Dawson Knox if Waller can't go, sadly, in that particular league. Jay, any chance you can give us a follow-up comment with who's at the top of the available wire? Because that's going to vary from league to league.
Right. Let's say you have guys like Jawan Johnson, Irv Smith, Luke Musgrave. Who are these guys here that you might
in that exact order you just said would be really the way I'd be looking to go. But
all right.
Fill me for 2 seconds, man. I'm gonna look at something real fast.
Yeah, no, you're good. So while you're doing that, he's also saying go Sharks and go Niners. So he's all team Tycoon over here.
Let's go, baby.
Let's go. See, there it is. Sharks right there. Niners on his head. So there you go. You guys should hang out.
Yes, sir.
We got Eric saying, thanks, man. I subbed. Well, let's go, Eric. Welcome to the Get Right Fantasy Network community, brother. We'll be here Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, and Sunday mornings. We go live. Check us out, man. Get those notifications on so you can get in here, drop your questions in. We'll help you all the way, hopefully guide you into your fantasy championship this year. So let's do it. So you want to go back to that Waller question there?
Go back to that question. So I'm just looking at one of my public leagues as easy reference. A couple of these guys probably were drafted. If Gerald Everett's available, that's actually my top.
There you go.
Potentially available choice would go with Everett. Dulcich probably drafted. Juwan Johnson probably drafted. Actually,
would you consider Bellinger if he gets ruled out last minute?
No.
And because it's on Sunday night, would you consider Bellinger?
No.
Okay.
That's no.
Okay. I just had to ask because some people like to wait.
I'm not against picking him up if you're trying to take the risk up until after the afternoon game.
And that's the biggest issue here with this decision.
If there's enough doubt, I'm making the call that he's out earlier than that and moving on. So yeah, I would look for Everett. Dulcich probably not available. So if who's probably available, I'm looking at Dawson Knox or Hayden Hurst, frankly. As far as who's most likely to be available in your league.
Would you consider Tyler Conklin at all on Monday night? Because you do have that option.
I'd rather go with Knox over Conklin.
Okay, fair enough. Just trying to give people the options. Trying to think of all the options. All right, so there we go. So hopefully that helps you, Jay Media. Sounds like you and Tycoon are going to be in a bad spot. Oh, here he
Jay
goes.
mentioned Everett. Everett is the guy I would take.
There you go. I agree with that. I drafted him usually last round in most of my leagues. So
Yeah. If I
Especially
punted
if I
the
got
position,
Herbert.
he's good chance he's on the roster.
absolutely. Definitely have him on a couple of my teams. So Rafi saying I have him in our league, and I'm starting Juwan Johnson this week. He doesn't trust bad hammies. So
Also, why, if there's that much doubt going into the 1 o'clock West Coast, 4 o'clock East Coast games, if we don't have a ruling, I'm just pulling him at that point.
right. So there you go. All right.
Actually, it might even have to be before the most of the slate is 10 a.m. So you might have to make that call first thing Sunday morning, which I would do.
Yeah, I think so. Like you said, because it's a hammy, it's going to be hard to ride that out. If you're taking the risk,
hamstring for everybody, man.
Yeah, it's tough.
Watson Waller, son of a bitch.
So there you go, man. There you go. Welcome to fantasy football. This is just a bunch of this. That's all it is. A bunch.
And
of
the
this.
season basically hasn't even started yet. Still,
right? And then we're already there. It's
Waller's
like mid-season form already.
Anyways, but still.
Man, J Media has one more question for us here. He says PPR flex Jahan Dodson or Khalil Herbert. That's a little closer.
That is closer, Herbert. But good question.
Yeah, I think I'll go Herbert too, just for the guaranteed and the flex. Depends on maybe what other wide receivers you have up top. If you need a little boom, potentially Dotson, but I'd still go with the kind of guaranteed touches for Herbert. More so because you may not have Herbert in your lineup in the second half of the season because Roshan may have taken over by then. But we'll see. I don't think it'll be a full takeover. If anything, he may just lose his like 3-down rule, if you want to even call it that. But he's not a great pass protector, but yeah, we'll even see. So there you go. All right, so we'll get to the next game here. We're not doing too bad on time, I guess.
Speed of light right now, baby. Come on, we're flying.
Yeah, I was gonna say we're doing good. All right, so Cardinals Commanders next game here. We're gonna talk about. We had Washington opening up with a 6-point favorite with the 40.5-point over under. Looks like it's now a 7-point favorite over the Cardinals here with the 38-point over under. We mentioned it earlier, but Terry McLaurin does not have any injury designation dealing with that turf toe coming into week 1. So it looks like he's going to be active. And then on the Cardinals side, you have Hollywood Brown and Zach Ertz listed as questionable. So what are you thinking? I mean, we probably don't have to spend much time on this game.
Probably not. Pretty simple. I mean, in Superflex, I'm starting Sam Howell with no problem. Otherwise, in your regular leagues, Terry, Brian Robinson, Antonio Gibson are the guys I'm starting, and probably nobody else. Dotson is a consideration again if you're facing some injuries or have multiple flex positions that you perhaps need to fill. And on the Cardinals side, James Conner is the only one I'd consider, but there's a good chance that the RB3 you drafted, I might even want to play over Conner this week. I'm probably going to feel that way about the Cardinals offense all year.
Yeah, I'm pretty much. I'll start
no
Gibson. I'll start B-Rob.
Yeah.
Like you said, I'll start Dotson in certain situations. Most people who I didn't draft any McLaurin, but if you drafted him, you probably have to start him.
Yes.
Just based on your build. So I can't say to sit him for, someone off the wire or anything. Like I'd rather take my.
There is a chance I did a draft where he slipped pretty late. I think into like the 90s in the last week or so. Yeah, I think they were still concerned about that toe.
Okay,
but
well, yeah, if you're in one of those situations,
so so you might have actually got him as your WR4. I think I did on one team. I was actually really excited about that because I don't have much Terry either.
Oh yeah, I would even take Terry there. Yeah, usually I'm like getting Dotson like in 6 or 7, so to get around.
He went way after Dotson in this draft.
Wow, yeah, that's crazy. Nice draft. Let me get in that league.
It was a public league,
Okay.
It was one. It was real late at night. I was like, I'm bored. Draft now on ESPN.
There we go. Hey, that happens. Just do it on Sleeper or something else besides ESPN. But
they don't have it set up that way. Well, I guess you can go into the forums and find leagues and stuff. But
yeah, that's a little.
This was
wonky.
easier.
There we go.
I also have to do some Yahoo leagues every year to keep the rank up.
Oh, there you go.
In particular,
I'm platinum level over here.
Diamond. Let's go. Come on.
Oh, there you go.
You should be diamond.
I was going to say I'm slacking. It's because
you're good enough. That's where you should be.
I'll be there in a couple weeks. So I gotta get a couple of trades, get those medals.
You're
and
in
badges.
active Yahoo leagues this season, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, then
Yeah,
you'll
that's
be
where
fine.
our
You'll
main
be
home
fine.
leagues are. Yeah, we're good.
You'll be fine.
Absolutely. All right. So who we got here? Classics just saying he thought the line would be a little higher. Start all Commanders. Only start Connor if you don't have other flex options. So he's actually liking the Commanders side of it. So he's an NFC West fan. So he likes
East.
those teams. Or East. Thank you. So he's getting
So he's kind of on the same board with us. Yeah, start pretty much the Commanders. Only Connor is even in consideration on the Arizona side.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, so J Media was just saying thanks for the sage advice. He's excited for week 1, man. We are too. Can't wait to get there. We'll get into this next game. We'll keep it rolling. If you guys do have questions, make sure you drop them in the chat. If you're watching, make sure you hit that subscribe button for us. If you're already subscribed, make sure you hit that like button. It helps us just as much as subscribe, as we're on our quest for 1,000 subs. So help us get there. Hopefully we'll hit that mark this season, man. Hopefully we'll do it sooner than later. So
I think you will.
I appreciate all the support.
10 seconds, dude. I will be right back. So sorry.
Oh, yeah. No, you're good. You're good. So we'll roll through here, man. We got Packers at Bears. We have Chicago opening up as 2.5-point favorites with the over-under of 44.5. Looks like the line dropped down to Chicago, favored now by just 1 with a 41.5-point over-under. Looks like Packers players dealing with some injuries. We've been talking about it kind of all show. Romeo Doubs listed as questionable. Christian Watson actually ruled officially out, dealing with that hamstring. Another injury to note, no Bakhtiari. Says he's playing on Sunday, but hasn't really practiced since like August 30th. So something just to kind of keep your eyes on. But as far as this Packers Chicago game, definitely something I'm going to be watching, of course, to see this new look Bears offense. And then, of course, I was actually pretty impressed with Jordan Love in the preseason. Wasn't big on him, leading up to those preseason games, but he came out a little more poised than I originally expected, which kind of started, raising some of these passing game options up my boards as, we got closer here to the start of the season. But from your perspective, who you looking at starting and sitting in this game, Packers-Bears?
To me, this is just kind of an ugly game because I think there's as much unknown with these two teams as any in the league.
Right. Total changes everywhere.
Oh, yeah. So Jordan Love is still a mystery. Yeah, he looked pretty decent and composed during the preseason, but I always have to take preseason with a significant grain of salt. I don't think he's going to be horrible by any stretch, but I still am not very optimistic about the ceiling, so to speak. So my expectations remain tempered for the Packers offense as a whole. I don't think it's going to be particularly good. I've been lower on Watson than most to begin with, so I don't think the receiving core as a whole is very good. I like Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon, but yeah, Bakhtiari still having mystery around his health gets me still concerned about the line. And also with these injuries, so odd that I went from 2.5 down to 1 for Chicago. It's actually back to 1.5 as of the second.
We've been on the air for a little while now.
Yeah,
we've been on the air for a little while. Yeah, please fix them if you do see a different line.
And
so I'm going off of the BFF, yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be, I think, with the addition of DJ Moore, I don't want to say a new look Chicago offense. I think that would be an extreme way to phrase it. But I do think there's going to be a concerted effort to develop Fields as a passer more. That's why they brought DJ Moore in. They didn't bring him in so they could still only throw 12 times a game or whatever the hell they were doing last year.
Right. Like 125 yards a game or something.
How quickly is that going to be implemented? Do they? Because the Packers actually have a decent defense, so that's.
Yeah, I was going to say improved defense there.
I don't have real strong feelings about this game, so I see why the line is so tight. With Watson out, Doubs questionable and still clearly not totally healthy. Bakhtiari question. I'm leaning towards Fields and the Bears to win the game. As far as fantasy goes, really, I can only justify the stud players. Essentially, Aaron Jones, Justin Fields, DJ Moore, Khalil Herbert. That's as far as I can go with any degree of confidence. There's so much that I'm just unsure about with this matchup going in.
Yeah. And of course, we'd have to deal with those injuries, of course, to make it even more convoluted. So I'm pretty much with you. I'm on that one. So not too much more to really add on it. I mean, if you're in a situation where, I mean, yeah, I can't even think of anything, even close. But let's say, I mean, like you said, you're not even taking any swings at Jalen Reed. I mean, that's the biggest thing. Luke Musgrave, like none of these guys you're really feeling this week, given some of the situations at those given positions.
Right.
You feel there's just much better options out there that we've kind of talked about some of them already.
And more that we'll still talk about even from here.
Coming up. Yeah. All right. And Classic saying you're starting Jones in this one. He does think Musgrave is an interesting start for low value like DFS type play, but in redraft and dynasty, he's sitting them. He says he might take a flyer on Jalen Reed in deeper leagues, multiple flex spots, 3 wide receiver. If you're, really in a crunch in a situation. But yeah, it sounds like he pretty much agrees with what we're saying there. He does say start DJ Moore, Fields, and sit until further notice Herbert. So he's sit on the Herbert side. He wants to see how he looks week 1 because Green Bay is going to be solid versus the run. Wants to see how he's used. And he's saying he's maybe a flex at the moment. He's a bottle flex at the moment. He's about a flex in the moment. I think he was doing his voice to text by this time in the sheet that those pain meds were kicking in. So
essentially he's saying, yeah, Herbert's in the flex territory for now. I'm higher on Herbert than that personally. Although he does make a good point, Green Bay is very solid versus the run. But Herbert, man, he's just see if he gets a little bit of room. The guy's explosive. It's a great runner, really is. It's impressive.
For sure. All right, so that takes care of Packers Bears. So that's always going to be a good one. We have Caden is me in the chat. What's up, man? How's it going? If you're new here to Get Right, hopefully you hit us with that subscribe. We're trying to get out to 100, trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, man. If you can help us out, we'd appreciate it.
I'm trying to get to 100.
There you go, man. And then make sure you guys pop in the description and go follow Tycoon here if you like what he's been saying here, man. Go throw him a subscribe when he drops his shows.
Well,
and hopefully we get him a couple get him in here for a couple more shows this year. So he's asking Hopkins or McLaurin to start week 1. So and tell me in half and full PPR if you have a difference.
I don't have a difference this week. It's McLaurin in both formats. Wide receiver 1 for his team on the week against what is going to be a bottom 5 defense in all likelihood. Just a very attractive matchup. He'll have to do his damage in the first half. Once they get up, I think it's going to be, the B-Rob show, as we've already kind of alluded to. And Hopkins is facing a tough test in Marcus Lattimore. First game with his new quarterback, which hasn't been a problem for him in the past, frankly. DeAndre Hopkins has been probably the most quarterback-proof wide receiver in our generation. What he's been able to do with guys as talented as me throwing him the ball is kind of amazing. But still, I think it generally does take a little bit of time to get that chemistry, and I think that may be the case with him and Tannehill. That that's what history says. So I'm going to lean Terry this week.
There you go. I'm going to go opposite. I'm going to go Hopkins. I drafted Hopkins over McLaurin.
You just don't like Terry, do you?
No, it's because I've liked Dotson a lot more, so I just kind of avoided him because I could target Dotson like 3-4 rounds later. I'm getting Dotson in the 9th. You have to take Terry in a lot of the drafts I was doing in like the 4th or 5th. I just wasn't feeling him around that point. I'd much rather have someone like Hopkins, especially in redraft. He's an older receiver, but in redraft, to me, he's just like a steal as your wide receiver.
Yeah, for the
I have
season,
so many
doubt,
places as a wide receiver 3. So I'm just, how I answer these questions, I try to think about people's builds and just how I did it. And if I had Hopkins ranked, higher than McLaurin, the week 1 matchup's not going to deter me too much.
But the question's only about week 1.
Well, true, but I'm just saying, like, I'm not going to have that deter me too much. Like, I've seen McLaurin, destroy guys. There's still question marks about how, again, we don't expect much resistance from this Arizona offense, but they still are professionals. And I just think the targets that Hopkins going to get, especially in a full PPR or even a half PPR, I think will make the difference. And I think that offense, even against that defense, has a better chance to score. I think if they get close, they may not try to throw because of Howell. So that's why, I'm expecting more of a B-Rob and Gibson type, week. I don't know if they'll throw it outside and risk it with Howell, in week 1. So that's just why, I think they have a lot of trust in Tannehill and that team, and Hopkins, they're veterans. Again, that's just my thought process. That's where I'm at. I feel more comfortable with Hopkins.
We're not always going to agree. If we did, the show would be boring as hell.
Exactly. So there we go. So we try to state our case. Hopefully, Caden.
But you don't seem to have as much respect for Lattimore as I do.
I do, but I just have more respect for, and he's a little hobbled, going up against one of the best route runners in the league, the guy that's vet savvy. It's going to be a great matchup, and I just think Hopkins is just that dude. I just have that much more respect for Hopkins.
We've seen the dust-ups with Evans.
Yeah.
DeAndre Hopkins is not a guy who takes shit either. So
I know.
It's going
to be good.
This is going to be a lot of fun. I really can't wait.
But he's going to be throw me the ball. He's going to get 12, 15 targets in this game. Watch.
You think? Really?
It's going to be crazy.
If I thought that, I would be all over Hopkins too.
That's why I am, man.
Going to have that level of confidence.
No, we'll see. We'll see how it goes, man. And plus, they got to respect it, man. Especially if they're trying to pack the box, he's going to get his opportunities 1-on-1. And I trust. I mean, we've seen him with the what do they call it? The Kyler Hail Mary.
Nobody has
or whatever.
For
I mean, just come on. So
to be very clear.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah. So JP. Oh yeah. Well, first he says say hi to Mike for me, and then he's saying Nuke is on his FU tour this season. So there we go. All right. So hopefully you appreciate that, Caden. Yeah. Hopefully you hit that subscribe button for us, man, and come check us out Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, and Sundays, man. Absolutely, man. We'd appreciate you being part of the community. All right. So let's move on here. We'll get to. I tried to delay as much as I could before getting to this gross game, but we have to talk about it because we're here. Just how it is, man. Raiders at Broncos. Opened up Denver 3.5 point favorites, 44.5 point over under. Looks like it's still at 3.5, but the over under went down a bit to 43.5 is what I'm seeing now. And looks like Chandler Jones not expected to play Sunday. Big news there on the Broncos side.
Pissed off a player? No way.
Ooh, imagine that, right? Imagine that. And Jerry Jeudy on the other side of the ball, limited last couple of days. He has a questionable tag, hasn't been ruled out. So what are you thinking in this game? Give me your thoughts.
Well, it's only been 2 weeks since Jeudy suffered the original injury, so don't touch him this week. It's very, very risky. Not one I would
sit on Jeudy.
Personally. Me, really, it's only the studs on the Raider side that you're starting. You're starting Josh Jacobs. You're starting Devontae Adams. The Broncos defense is too good to trust anybody else on that Raider offense. It's not going to be the strongest start to the Las Vegas era for my boy Jimmy G. Shame. I mean, I'm never going to root for the Raiders, but on a personal level, I'll always have love for Jim. So I definitely don't want to see him struggle too much, but it's going to be a tough task in the Mile High City. On the flip side, on the Broncos side, love Russ. And nobody else I love because I don't know exactly what we're going to see between Javonte and
that's where I was going.
Samaje Perine. Now, preseason indicates Javonte is ready to go. I mean, in the game they played against our 49ers, Javonte was very heavily used in the
5 carries, 4 catches,
4 catches, so
15 snaps,
So I'm really kind of thinking they're ready to roll with Javonte, and maybe I'm not going to take that risk myself in week 1, but that is something I'll be okay being wrong on. It won't shock me at all though if he gets heavy majority over Perine. Because if he is good, health-wise, he's certainly much better. Receiving-wise, I would start Dulcich this week, actually. Not particularly thrilled about Sutton. Mims kind of interests me as kind of a dart throw if you need it. This game doesn't actually excite me too much. I guess you're right. It is kind of gross.
I told you. I knew you'd get there. So I just got to ask you, Javonte Williams or Jamal Williams?
Javonte.
What about Najee or Javonte?
You dirty bastard. That is a good one. That is a really good one. I'm going to regret saying this, but Javonte.
Okay. Dameon Pierce.
Ooh,
Or
you
Javonte.
are an even dirtier bastard. Son of a gun.
Gotta ask you the hard questions, man. Gotta
You
ask you the
do.
hard questions.
You are not pulling any money. Larry King over here. Oh.
Ooh, that's a good
So
one.
much.
I got
hate
you with
so
that.
much.
Yeah.
Still Javonte, but barely.
Okay. That's tough. Okay. What about Khalil Herbert or Javonte?
Khalil.
And do you have Javonte
No,
over?
I'm sorry. I got to take that back. It's still Javonte. Son of a gun.
Still Javonte?
It's-
Okay.
Yeah, shoot. Why do I like
James-
it so much?
James Cook?
No, it's Cook there in this. All right, Cook. There's the line. It's definitely James
Okay.
Cook over
All right.
Javonte for me.
And then Dalvin Cook.
Also, Dalvin, easy. Yeah. Dalvin,
Okay.
I think, is in my top 20 this week.
Okay. Fair enough. All right. I think that was good. That was good. I got you good on a couple of those. So not
Did.
bad. There we
Damian
go.
Pierce and Najee ones were close and dirty questions.
There we go. All right. So that's Raiders Broncos. Mike saying he's sitting Myers, Jimmy G. He wants to start Jacobs and Adams. Of course,
Yes.
Broncos top DB tandem versus wide receivers. So he's saying sit Javonte for now. He thinks
Which is
Russell and Sutton will
understandable.
be fine. And then Dolchich is a break glass option. Maybe if you're in one of those Waller situations. And Mims could be an interesting DFS play. Hard to start in redraft or dynasty. So now going to the wide receivers in this game. Actually, we won't finish it off exactly yet. I want to ask Jalen Reed or Marvin Mims. Jaden Reed. Jaden?
Mims is my play over Reed this week. Yeah.
Okay.
And
so
Mike,
you have Mims
Sutton
over?
will be fine. I don't think Sutton will be fine. Not
You get to-
necessarily. Or I think it's crazy to have that much confidence in Cortland Sutton after the last couple of years.
I'm actually starting Sutton, and I had him in a 3 wide receiver non-PPR league. So I'm starting him there because I didn't have no cup, and I kind of went a little
Well,
RB
yeah, if
heavy.
you don't have Cup, sure.
So yeah, so he had to shift up
But
into
it's-
my.
I
Not
can
proud of
understand
it.
why-
but-
I mean, the de facto wide receiver 1 versus a poor defense is understandable as a play. I just,
liked it more when Judy was
It
hurt.
seems it's just the confidence in the way Mike wrote it will be
Right.
fine. Like that's just too much confidence in Sutton for me.
I like the disagreement there. I like it. Jamie D is saying he lost trust in Javonte with his injury last season. He needs to apologize to me for tanking one of my teams. So there we go. And Jamie D has a hot take. Damian Pierce is the new Arian Foster. No way.
Outrageous.
No
Outrageous. I'm
way.
sorry, Jay. I've been feeling you all night.
That's where you disagree. That's where he
why.
draws the line. That's where he draws the dotted line. It's just a dotted line.
That
Maybe a
is
solid
so
yellow.
disrespectful to Arian Foster.
Maybe a solid yellow.
And maybe Damian Pierce will prove me wrong. I kind of hope he does. I never root for root real hard against any individuals in the NFL that aren't just giant pieces of shit. You know, guys like Joe Mixon I root against because the guy sucks. But Damian Pierce, I have no reason to think he's not a good guy. So
I loved him
nothing
last year,
against
and I
him as a
think he
person.
paid out.
I just
Yeah.
don't think he's special at all.
Draft stock got up there. I did take him in my auction league as my RB3 with Eckler and Henry, and I have him as my RB3. But I'm glad I have.
He's great. He was going
Eckler
in
and
like
Henry to
easy mid
start him
RB2
before.
territory all draft season though, which is way too rich for me.
Yeah, easily. All right, so there we go. So that'll officially end Raiders Broncos right there. So we'll get yeah, there we go. We'll get on to the Dolphins and Chargers here. We'll try to plow through it. We might actually finish before. I don't know. There's still actually a lot of games left. It looks like. We'll try to. We're doing all right.
That's what I was
All right.
thinking when I was putting the notes together for my show. It was like, all right, oh shit,
We're
there's
almost
still
done.
6
Yeah. Oh,
games.
there's still a ton of games to go. Yeah. All right. So let's get through it, man. We got Raiders at Broncos. We got. Oh no, we already did it. Oh, perfect. See, that's one already done. Dolphins at Chargers is what I mean. I'll try to cut that out in the editing. We have the Chargers opening up as 2.5-point favorites with the over under of 50. Current line looks like it went to 3-point favorites now with the over under 51. I assume that's because left tackle Teron Armstead is ruled out with his leg and ankle injuries he suffered in practice a few weeks ago. He was rolled up on. And then Jalen Waddle, he was dealing with the oblique injury. but he practiced in full and is good to go for Sunday now. So we've kind of talked about it already, kind of this being that game you're targeting. So we're basically starting everyone in this one, right? What are your thoughts?
This is super easy. Start everybody on both teams.
Except for Smythe. You don't have to start Smythe.
I guess you can pass on Durham Smythe. Yeah, but even then, I don't know. Sneaky DFS play?
You need some help at tight end, right?
No, honestly, if it wasn't for 49ers Steelers, obviously, this might be the game of the week for me. This is... I'm thrilled that it is in the afternoon side, not the morning side with the Niners, so I can focus more attention on this game. Certainly the best game of the afternoon slate. And, yeah, slightly alluded to it earlier, but just the Tua versus Herbert subtext. If you're involved with fan bases of either team, obviously with where they were drafted, those two fan bases love to argue about their QB with each other and just slander the other team's QB. So Miami fans love to talk mad shit on Herbert and vice versa with Charger fans of Tua. This is going to be a magical game, especially if you're a person who spends entirely too much time on the internet like Tycoon does. There's going to be just magical content that is going to appear on your screen. But to the fantasy points, yeah, truly, start everybody. You're starting Herbert, the receiving core. You're starting, Williams and Allen. You're starting Everett. I don't even think that's. I mean, okay, you're not starting Everett if you have a top tight end. But like if you're looking for a tight end, Everett is the guy for this week. Starting Eckler, and on the flip side with the Dolphins, you're obviously starting Tua. You're obviously starting Hill. You're obviously starting Waddle. You're obviously starting Raheem Mostert. And I say obviously because.
You say that
confidently. Why is it not obvious? I can't even imagine a scenario where there's going to be 23 better running backs than Raheem Mostert this week. That doesn't compute. The math ain't mathin'.
Yeah. He's going to continue to creep up. Like you said, Chargers weren't that great against the run last year. Like you said, you want to see
not
it.
That great is such an understatement.
I was going to say, they were like literally second next. No, you're good. It's late night. It's Friday. We're good. We clicked the not for children button, so we're good. But yeah, I think they were literally second last year, next to only Houston as far as points allowed to running backs. Someone can correct me if they want to go stat check me there, but
was I think almost 6 that they were giving
something crazy.
Something bananas.
Granted, there was Duran James was out for a good portion of that, and he makes a big difference, and no Bosa for a good amount of time. So we'll see. Like you said, we need to see it. Chargers usually find a way to charger it up. It's going to be basically a Dolphins home game. And it will be a Dolphins. It's going to be a Dolphins home game, basically. So we'll see what happens. Classics, basically.
Living in Orange County, adjacent to LA County, I know more Dolphins fans here than I know Charger fans.
Oh man, see,
just me personally.
That's
I
crazy.
know like 10 Dolphins fans, and I know like 6 Charger fans. It's crazy.
That's outrageous. Right there in the area.
I don't even understand why they're so popular out here. They're too young to be have bought into the team from the Marino era, unless their parents passed that on to them. I don't know.
Right. It's like, who would have really caught their attention over the years since then?
Like I said, guys in their late 40s and 50s and shit that love Dan Marino. I totally get it. But if you're in your late 20s, early 30s, it's strange to me.
Yeah. Maybe they got you with
Ace Ventura.
Ace Ventura. Yeah, I was just about to say it. There you go. So when everybody says like, "Oh, Dan Marino," the actor from Ace Ventura. That's always my response when anybody mentions Dan Marino.
Ray Finkel.
Yeah, exactly. So there we go. All right. So Cox is basically agreeing with us. He said just start them all. Shootout, high over under to target line. Nothing really to break down. He says lower your expectations on Mostert. He does like Everett as a sneaky play. Dolphins are weak at safety at the moment. But I believe they have their lockdown corners back in Brian Jones and Xavier Howard. They're back and healthy,
I think that's
right?
only like the second time I've disagreed with Mike all night. First Herbert,
there you
now
go.
Mostert.
There it is. Interesting. But QJ is one person we didn't mention in this game. Apparently he's listed behind Palmer in this one. Technically, the wide receiver 4, so we're not starting him this week.
Passing,
and Smythe, Durham Smythe. So those are the two in this game. We're not starting, but you can start almost everybody else. What about Savon Ahmed? Is he a interesting start here potentially as the RB2 in this Mike McDaniel's running game?
If A-Chain's out and you need something real deep, maybe. But
Okay.
in any
Now,
standard
because we said that
format,
he's gonna have like 2 touchdowns now because we said that. Watch.
Yeah, 3 rushes, 7 yards, 2 TDs. It's gonna
2
be crazy.
DDs, right? It'd be nuts. I could see him like breaking like 140 yarder, not a touchdown, but just like a 40 yarder, and then have like a couple like 15 yarders, touchdowns. So we'll see how it works
That's
out.
Heen's
Oh
thing,
man, I
though,
can't
man.
wait.
He's the speed guy.
Yeah. So there we go. All right, so that wraps up Dolphins Chargers. We'll get to the chat here. We got a couple new folks joining in. We have MGJMHK. I don't know how to pronounce it, man, but welcome back. Appreciate you coming on Wednesday. Good to see you here again. He says, would y'all trade Hurts, JJ Olave, Damian Pierce, and Algier for Burrow, Chase, Devontae, Adams, and ETN? That's a blockbuster
wild trade. Yes.
That is a blockbuster.
Whoa. So
I would think I
Hurts
want
and
the Hurts
Burrow-
JJ side for sure.
See, that's initially.
Oh man, I don't know. That's tough.
So
Yeah.
Burrow and Hurts kind of a wash. JJ Chase kind of a wash. Olave Adams
Right.
kind of a wash. I think ETN's a notable upgrade from Pierce. And honestly, I like Adams a significant amount over Olave. I feel like some view it as a wash. Me, I think Adams is a notable bump. So I think
Yeah,
you're
there's a
upgrading in
gap
2 spots
between
for
Hurts and
washes
Burrow.
2 others. There's a fair gap there. True. I think there's a bigger gap between Adams and Olave than Hurts and Burrow, personally. Me.
Yeah.
That's not going to be a universal.
Yeah, and then you
opinion,
kind of get me with
obviously.
that ETN, and I'd
But that's
give
the
up
biggest
Algier
gap
for
for me.
that. Yeah, I wouldn't mind. Yeah, now that I'm looking at a little closer, I'd probably take that Chase Devontae ETN Burrow side.
That's a wild trade, though. That's fun.
Gosh, I
don't
love
see
that,
enough
man.
trades
Let me get
like
in that league. That's what I was gonna say. I
Seriously.
love those blockbuster trades, man. When people aren't afraid to trade like real people, they're not just trying to get over on somebody. Quantity versus quantity. That's like quality versus quality trade right there. That's like
No, yeah,
let's
that's
just
planting
switch these
flags
guys
at the
around.
top end of the tiers.
Absolutely. I love it, man. That's what's
So
up.
full
Keep bringing
disclosure,
those
yes,
questions.
Hurts over Burrow, slim margin. JJ over Chase, yes, slim margin. But Adams
Devontae
and
over
Olave,
Olave.
Pierce and
and that
ETN, or
ETN.
and Pierce. I mean, that's
And Algier is kind of just a depth piece to get it done. I'd pay that price.
I think it's worth it to make up the gap for
Especially if this is like a
Pierce,
10 or a 8 if this is like a 10 or 18 team league, I definitely like it more too, because
yeah.
you're kind of upgrading those, you're getting more quality in those positions. So that ETN come up over Damian Pierce, I think.
I almost wonder if it is 10 teams. Man, how do you have all these guys on the same teams?
Yeah, it has to be 10 or 8. So so there we go. So appreciate it. Thanks for coming back, man. Again, we're here Monday, Wednesdays, Fridays, and Sunday mornings.
Oh, there's
Live
12,
taking your
it
questions.
says.
Oh snap! Let me get in
Dude,
this
you guys are
league
good
next year.
drafters to stack some of those
For
pieces
sure.
on the same team in 12 teams. Good job.
Well done. Well done. So there we go. So keep bringing it, man. Appreciate you coming out. I mean, it's tough when you're trying to grow. We try to say tell your league mates, but maybe tell some people that aren't in your league to come, join the community here. But again, we appreciate you coming out here and finding us. So again, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, hit that like button. So yeah, so we'll get to another one here. Jay Media is still getting all excited, man, over football, saying he can't wait to see Bosa on the field this weekend. So let's go. Bang, bang. Have to throw one of those out there since the Cowboys guys aren't on here today. They don't allow me to really say that, so I'll get one out. We got Mo Diesel in the house. What's up, Mo Diesel? If you're new to us here, like I just said, man, hit that subscribe button for us, man. Appreciate it. He says half PPR, flex Juju, or flex Mark Andrews and start Ferguson. He does have Dak. Obviously, Mark Andrews dealing with that quad injury is questionable. You have the opportunity to flex Juju here, or do you go Ferguson? So what are you thinking?
So the question essentially is Juju or Ferguson. I mean, I would have easily said Juju before a couple of days ago with reports that, his knee is ready to explode.
Yeah, that was
even
weird.
with that, Juju, it would be my pick here. You're starting Andrews if he's active. It's that simple in my mind.
And a quad's not quite a hammy. Like when I think quad, I think more like a Charlie horse type situation. I mean, it could be torn type quad, type thing. But when I think quad, I think more like Charlie horse, because he's on the line. He probably got a need, blocking in there and during practice. I think that's just obviously I don't know. I wasn't there, but there we go. So he's saying,
so I would go Juju though, and and Andrews just because he's one of those really two truly elite tight ends there. It's him and Kelsey, regardless of what the injury is, if they are active roster players that day.
Because their offenses run through them. And that's the difference, is the offenses run through them. They're not just an ancillary piece, to the main guys. Like, they pretty much are the main guys. So he also asked Dak or Russell Wilson this week. I think I have Dak ranked higher.
That's close, because
I know you're bigger than
barely.
Okay, I was going to say you're a little higher on Russ than most, I think.
Yeah, I'm definitely higher on Russ than consensus. I don't think there's any doubt about that. And I love his matchup this week, obviously, at home versus the Raiders. I think the marriage between him and Peyton is going to make some beautiful, beautiful music. He won't have his full complement of receivers, in particular his best receiver in Jerry Jeudy. So that's really part of why I lean more towards Dak. I have some respect for the Giants. They are on the road. The Cowboys are. They'll be in the Meadowlands for this game, but I still have to lean Dak.
Okay. And then MG was saying it is half point, 3 wide receiver, 1 flex, 6 passing touchdowns. So we still say the same thing, right?
That changes nothing for me. If anything, it makes it even more favorable,
even better
on the Burrow side. So
exactly,
not by a lot, but slightly.
Yeah, I love it. I love that you guys are even willing to move those pieces. Like, that's the kind of leagues I like to be in.
Let it hang, baby.
I love them boys, man, because him and I will just trade like top end pieces like that, like crazy. Like, if we both want someone, we'll just make it happen. So
mad respect for them boys in that regard. He's not afraid to like pull a trigger
to move pieces.
He feels it. Yeah,
absolutely. What's up, Neanderthal? He's in here saying a 10-man traditional league. You looking to flex Godwin or Ayuk? He's starting Amari and Waddle as well. So you going with Godwin or Ayuk in that flex? That's really tough.
That would depend on how tough I'm viewing my opponent. Godwin for floor, Ayuk for ceiling. If you feel like you need a potential home run from that slot on your team this week, throw Ayuk in there. If you just know you need a really solid baseline of points and you can count on somebody else to pop, which I think Waddle has a great chance at this week, as does Amari, I'd lean Godwin. Without knowing who your opponent is and what you're facing up against this week, it's hard to say for sure, but knowing you're starting Amari and Waddle, I'm probably leaning Godwin by a hair. But again, all depends on if you think you really need a pop from that spot, in which case I would take the shot on Ayuk instead.
Right. I pretty much agree with what you're saying there as well. Like I said, Godwin was someone I wasn't really staying away from. So he's saying he has cut, but that's obviously not an option. So that's why he's in that situation right there. So, yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I'd go Godwin and kind of live with the result there. But again, I don't think it's really bad. Like, either way you go, like I think those are still two good options, and you just kind of live with the result. Like, I think it's close enough to where you don't have to lose sleep about it. Just throw one in there. And again,
that's what I'm saying.
With what you know right now,
I think you have a bigger ceiling this week or not. That's really it.
Yeah. You're not going to predict what happens. Yeah. You just hope the one you start, of course, scores a touchdown. That's what it should come down to. So we got Dim Boys in the house. What's up, Dim Boys? He's saying, oh, shit, the Fantasy CEO's here with the GRFN CEO. So we're in the house. What's up? What's up? Saying, what's up, guys? Good to have you here, my friend.
Office, baby. The executive
Absolutely.
Committee. That's what we need to call if it's just me and you.
The executive committee, right? The executive committee show. I like that. We'll get the branding team on it. We'll come up with like a whole thing and everything. All right, so let's try to we'll power through these, man. I mean, me, we go a long time, but I want to be respectful of your time here, of course, as well. But again, you guys got questions, comments?
Public, man. My wife's not here tonight. I got time, so don't even worry.
Oh, okay, cool. So we're good. We'll take you guys all the way through it. So next game here, again, you guys got questions, man? Drop them in the chat. That's what we're here for. We'll break down the games, but as soon as we're done breaking down the game, we'll get to the chat. Get caught up with your questions or comments in there. And again, make sure you're hitting that subscribe button and that like button for us. So next game here is going to be Eagles at Patriots. We have the defending NFC champions. I hate saying that; makes me sick. Philadelphia coming out 4.5-point favorites here over the Patriots with the over/under of 646. It did drop down to Philly favored by 4 with a 44 or just a 44-point over/under. Eagles are coming in pretty healthy here. All their guys are pretty much going to be ready to go. We didn't see any Jalen Hurts this preseason. I think he was one of 8 quarterbacks that didn't play at all, right?
Yeah, right, correct.
So sign that big extension. We'll see how he looks and if he's going to be up to the same things he was doing last year, or if they tweak this offense at all. Now that they've made a longer term investment, obviously they paid a lot, or maybe not paid a lot, but they made investments in guys like Swift, guys like Penny. Of course, they have Gainwell there. So it'll just be interesting to see, what offense they roll out. Excuse me. On the Patriots side, kind of the complete opposite of what's going on in that franchise right now. You got Ramondre Stevenson, big news. He was missing today at practice. Came out later that it was due to a stomach bug and an illness. He's officially questionable, but the feeling is he will be ready Sunday. You have Devontae Parker dealing with the knee issue. So he's listed as questionable. What are you thinking? What are your thoughts on this game here?
I don't love it. I was like, I'm like the under on this game in particular. 2 good defenses. Ramondre, assuming he's active, the stomach bug passes is really the only start that I'm looking at as far as the Patriots go. And you start the guys as usual on Philadelphia. So you're going to start Ertz. You're going to start, A.J. Brown, Arthur Wanbaby. You never sit him.
Let's go.
And Devontae, you're going to start. As far as the backfield goes, I'm extremely high, again, on Swift for the entire season. However, this week, my expectations are pretty tempered, and I think they should be for the entire backfield this week. If you do need to start one of those running backs, Swift would be the guy I'm starting, but I'm not expecting a lot out of any of those guys this week against a tough Patriots defense, especially playing in Foxborough. So with that, I think it's going to be kind of limited to the big boys on the Philly side because of that. And Philly obviously also has probably what's going to remain top 5 defense in the league as well. So my confidence in McCorkle is very low. So I have no interest in him or any of his passing game options. I also have no interest in Zeke. I understand he'll probably be relied on, as the goal line guy. I'm not convinced New England gets to the goal line much, if at all, this week. So I really don't care if he gets 1 touchdown with, 12 yards rushing. That doesn't do anything for me. So even if he does get the token 1 touchdown, I don't think there's going to be enough extra production to really make it useful.
Right. I'm pretty much with you. You're starting all the guys you drafted on the Eagles. And like you said, I mean, just based on where you drafted Stevenson, you're most likely having to throw him out this week. Not the greatest of matchups. So, just temper expectations. Just understand it is just part of the matchup. And hopefully they utilize him in the passing game, maybe short passing game, make it kind of be the extension of the running game, which is great, in a full or half PPR. So maybe, Belichick does some things like that. So we'll see, what may happen there. So yeah, other than that, like you said, just based on the defense they're facing, probably one of the best, if not the best, cornerback duo, between Slay and
who
am I drawing a
Gardner
blank?
Johnson?
That's what I'm trying to think of.
It's still Bradbury, right? So
yeah, is it Bradbury? I'm so drawing a complete blank right now.
I'm pretty sure it's Bradbury.
Okay, so
It's Bradbury.
yeah, and I was gonna say he's known for good defense there. So, so just like you said, I'm starting pretty much only Ramondre on the Patriots side. Classic's basically saying the same thing, except for he's a little higher on Zeke. He just says, keep an eye on those injury reports in the news. And if Stevenson does sit, then he does like Zeke in this game. But
If Stevenson sits, yes. But if Stevenson active, I think Zeke's got to score twice to be useful.
Okay. So see, them boys is coming to our rescue there. It is Slay and Badberry. Good call.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. So I don't know why I was drawing a blank on that. So that pretty much wraps up that game. So we'll get to the chat here. We have Nick GT. What's up, Nick? If you're new here, man, hit that subscribe button for us. Get to your questions here in between our game breakdowns. He's asking, should I trade Stevenson, who we're just talking about? So appreciate when people ask questions involving the game breakdowns and previews we just did. So should I trade Stevenson for Olave? My other running backs are Bijan and David Montgomery. His wide receivers are Amon-Ra, Tyler Lockett, and Christian Kirk. First off, nice team. And which way are you leaning on this one? Do you think he needs to make a move for Olave with that wide receiving core?
No, I would keep Stevenson.
I agree with you there. I'd keep Stevenson in this build. I think those wide receivers are strong enough to get you through. It's a, I don't want to say a minimal upgrade because Olave is definitely an upgrade. But I still think your team's just better overall. It is early in the season. I don't want to kind of consolidate my positions and try to tier up quite yet. I like to wait to do those type of moves as we get closer to the fantasy playoffs if you're in that type of position. So again, make sure you stick with us. We'll be discussing all those type of strategies during our roster management shows on Wednesdays when we start talking about how to navigate those trades and when you want to start doing those type of moves. So appreciate you for coming out and asking your question. If you have any more, make sure you drop them in the chat. We have Kish in here saying, is there any viable Pats receivers other than Juju?
No.
Yeah, I don't think so either, man. We'll have to wait and see. Maybe Thornton can emerge to be something. Maybe Devontae Parker might be something. But I'm not betting on it. So I think Juju could have some decent, roles there, being that slot receiver, big slot receiver that he is. Could get some good targets in PPR. Basically, if he just is Jacoby Myers, then I think we've known he's been okay as long as he can find the end zone a couple times. Cadillac's back. What's up, man? Maybe he went away and came back, or maybe he's been watching this whole time, but it has another question here. Would you do a Sun God and Pierce for Barkley and Higgins? His other RB is Najee, and his other wide receiver is Justin Jefferson. So Amon-Ra St. Brown and Damian Pierce for Barkley and Hodgins. Or
Yes, I
Higgins.
would.
Yeah, I think I would too. I would too.
That's I mean, I don't hate what you have now, but I think the difference between I think I'm pretty encouraged by Amon-Ra, especially following Thursday. So there's probably a little bit of a gap between him and Higgins, but I think there's a much bigger gap between Barkley and Pierce.
That's what I was going to say.
Still being able and having JJ in particular, I think makes me comfortable in moving off of Amon-Ra for that RB upgrade.
Yeah, exactly.
If you didn't have Jefferson, I'd probably say no.
Exactly. Yeah, I think that really is a difference maker in that trade. So for sure. And Dim Boys agrees. We're all agreeing, man. There we go. So he's saying absolutely do it. So we're right there. So here we go. So we're caught up in the chat. Again, you guys got questions? Drop them in there. We'll definitely get to them. Otherwise, we will continue on. We're almost done. Last afternoon slate game. Rams at Seahawks. Seahawks opened up at 5.5-point favorites with the over-under of 46.5. I don't know if the line has changed yet. Let me get there. Currently sitting at 4.5-point favorites now, and it went down to a 46-point over-under. Obviously Cooper Kupp being out. The big news, of course, was the report saying that there's a definite chance that he goes on IR next week. So that's not very encouraging to those Cup owners, including myself. In one of my main kind of bigger money home leagues. He was sitting there at the 204 and I just couldn't pass him up and wish I did. So you're dealing with that. The interesting news on the Seahawks side was Ken Walker kind of popped up after being fine on Wednesday, popped up with the groin on Thursday, was being limited. And then as of today, shed that limited tag, was back to a full and has no injury designation heading into Sunday. So what are your thoughts about this game? We've kind of talked about it a little bit here, but recap it for us and let us know who you're starting, who you're sitting.
It's kind of a gross game to me, fantasy-wise, frankly. I expect the Rams have the ability to keep it close. I don't think there's a single Ram outside of potentially Higbee if you need the help at tight end due to one of the injured top guys. Or if you punted, and he's, say you grabbed a late duo to platoon, he would be my choice for the week. Otherwise, never starting Akers. We're just going to start right there. And without Kupp, I really have no interest in any other part of the passing attack beyond potentially Higbee. On the Seahawks side, you start the core guys. Geno, maybe I'm not starting, but I'm still starting DK. I'm still starting Lockett. I'm starting Kenneth Walker. Charbonnet, probably not yet. I'll hold off on Charbs, but I'll start the big three skill position guys. Otherwise, I'm probably largely staying away from this.
Okay. Didn't Charbonnet, isn't he technically listed as third on the depth chart behind DJ Dallas right now? So is that why you don't think he has flex appeal?
No, that's not particularly why I think he's better than DJ is. I'm not too worried about depth charts before week one even plays out.
Okay.
In most cases. In this case, this is one of those cases. I've seen enough DJ Dallas. I'm pretty high on Charbonnet, so maybe there's a little bit of bias out there for me with Charbs and coming into the league. But it's still just rookie hesitancy. Kenneth Walker proved himself as a very strong runner last year. Charbonnet maybe gets some of the receiving work to start out, but as far as the rushing volume and so thus the overall volume, I still think that's going to lean pretty heavily in Walker's favor. And that's really why. It's just one of those, I still need to see what's going to happen here first before I get too confident in the rookie.
Okay. And I don't know if I was looking at some stuff when you first started mentioning it, but did you mention Van Jefferson or Puka Nacua? I know you said you're kind of staying away, but...
I didn't mention them specifically other than just staying away from all the pass catching options.
Just the passing options.
Just not in on the Rams whatsoever on an offensive level.
Perfect. And then what about JSN?
Even if he's active week one, I'm not starting him.
Coming off that wrist surgery, broken wrist.
Correct. And so even if he's healthy enough to play, so to speak, he's not 100%. And your wrist matters when you're catching footballs.
Fair enough. All right.
As talented as he is, DK and Lockett are truly excellent receivers.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they can ease him in. No need to feed him
and they have
targets
the chemistry with and trust of Geno.
Right. Obviously DK being the he's been top 4 basically his entire career, red zone target share. He's been one of my favorite guys. Interestingly enough, I didn't get a lot of pieces
his abs this year, so
yes,
I'm especially in on that.
Yes, absolutely.
The no hand catch is going to be fabulous. As long as it doesn't happen against San Francisco, I'm all into it.
Can't wait to see it. Good stuff. I'm glad you brought that around. See, the inside jokes are good. So what else we got in here? We have Kish feeding us some fake news in here, apparently saying he saw some interesting betting lines for this one with Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet both around minus 200 to score a TD.
That's absolutely bananas, and I would just absolutely hammer plus money on Charbonnet not scoring a touchdown if that was actually true. Yeah.
Man, that's crazy.
There's no way Zach Charbonnet is minus 200 for an anytime.
There we go.
Even before the injury, Travis Kelce wasn't that against the Lions for Thursday. So,
right. You had Nick asking Dim Boys, and of course Dim Boys, one of the OGs here of the channel, one of the moderators here. So of course he'll answer your questions here, and whatever he's saying, I'm in a bunch of leagues with them. And again, he's also I don't know why I say that. He's also the host of our the Fantasy Dead Zone, man, coming soon here to the Get Right Fantasy Network. So again, make sure you check him out. Oh, see, we can't have the comment up there at the same time.
Yeah, what the hell, man? Come on.
Yeah, there we go. See, get that on there. But then, boys, is this bottom right corner here, man. Dead Zone Fantasy Show. So again, anything he's saying in the chat, you know, I don't want to say I agree with what he's saying, but it's coming from a good source. So you could trust his take on that one. He does his research. So he's just saying your wide receivers are strong enough. And Stevenson is quite a bit better than Monty, who you've had to start in his place. The gap between Olave and Lockett isn't that big. So,
Agreed.
So yeah, pretty much, you know, what we were saying as well too. And he's just saying it is a 12-man, and he appreciates the responses. So that's what we're here for, man.
Appreciate you, Nick.
For sure.
Know that.
Couldn't do it without you. That's why we're here. Absolutely.
100%.
So hopefully you keep joining us, man. Again, we'll be here Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, and Sunday mornings, live, taking your questions, answering them to the best of our abilities. Hopefully leading you, getting your lineups right for those championships come the end of the year. So let's get to it, man. We got 2 more games left. We have the Sunday night football game here. Cowboys at Giants, NFC East showdown. Dallas is coming in favored by 3 with a 47.5 point over under. That's what they opened at. It's currently at 3.5. Dallas dropped a little bit to 45.5 point over, or just 45 point over under. You know, Giants side of the ball, Wan'Dale Robinson knees listed as questionable. I'm not expecting him, or actually, I'm sorry, he's doubtful. I haven't really expected him all year. But of course, the big thing's been Darren Waller, which we've kind of talked about throughout this entire show. They're saying the hamstring is not believed to be serious, and the Giants are hopeful he can play Sunday. And hopeful is the word that scares me. There's no firm determination. They'll likely monitor throughout the weekend. But like we said, man, you don't like these late additions to the injury reports, especially hamstrings like we've been talking about all night. And the thing that makes this the worst is it is the Sunday night football game. So basically all of your options are gone. So that's what makes it so tough, you know, for this specific situation. You're just going to have to kind of make a decision, like Tycoon was saying earlier. And I'll let you kind of repeat it here. You just have to kind of make that decision based on your gut and what you feel with the reports, you know, we have coming out, you know, Sunday morning. And again, Classic Mike will be here doing those active inactives, and maybe we get a peek, you know, before the kickoff, you know, the early game kickoffs, but most likely they'll probably come down to the wire.
You know, he could be game time for Sunday.
Yeah, Classic might be a game time decision as well. I don't know. He might do that show from his bed. He'll figure out how to set it up in there and just be laying back and doing the show. So
as long as he's got one of those like bed and breakfast, like little lap trays, he's got the coffee there, he's got the eggs, hash browns going. You know, that'll be quality entertainment. So
it'll be good.
I might even wake up early to tune into that.
I was gonna say I'd even tune in for that one, but that show's even a little earlier for me. So that's why I'm not always on it. Yeah, he's up there early, man, doing those things. So so there you go. Plus, you know, now with the 17 leagues, man, I got a lot of lineups to set in the morning. That's a little tough. So
that's also kind of why you need Mike, though. You got a lot of decisions.
Oh yeah, that's. Hey, I'm there in the chat, but I like when I'm on that actual show on Sundays, when I do my you know, couple guest appearances on those Sundays, man. Like as soon as like 9 o'clock hits, or like as soon as 9 hits, I'm like I kind of tune out and I'm like not answering as many questions. I'm like literally just setting all my lineups, and then once I'm set, then I'm like, then I can kind of come back to the show. But
9 o'clock is where you really got to lock in for sure.
For sure. So yeah, so sorry about the tangent. Yeah, I was gonna say in between the game. Normally we wait for that little banter outside the game. But you know, it is Classic Mike's Giants here, so we spent a little time giving him his props in this game. So Waller is of course the big thing there. Then on the Cowboy side, you got Tyron Smith dealing with his ankle. He's listed as questionable. And Tyler Smith, the left guard, dealing with another hamstring. So many hamstring injuries. He's listed as doubtful. Again, week 1, I guess that's what you get with all the, you know, new CBA and guys not being able to go full pads and do all this stuff, man. And we're just seeing these soft tissue injuries just take their toll here. But yeah, as far as this game, Cowboys Giants, man, who you like in this one, you know, and who don't you like?
Usual suspects in this game as well. So, as you know, to repeat what we've been talking about with Waller, you do need to make that decision by the first slate kickoff. And if he is not been officially announced, you know, he's going to be good to go. Personally, I'm erring on the side of caution because it is a hamstring injury in particular. I don't care if it's not to be or not believed to be serious and hopeful that he'll play. Those are all words that, as Ross has said, are terrifying. So I am not going to take that risk, and I'm going to pivot to Higbee or Everett or somebody like that earlier. As far as the rest of the Giants go, Barkley is the only player I have any real interest in on the Giants side this week. Danny Dimes in a super flex, of course, is going to be in startable range. But in one QB, he's out for me. On the Cowboys side, also a pretty limited tree that I'm really looking to attack. Dak, Pollard, Lamb, all fairly highly drafted guys. It's
Cooks, Ferguson.
No, not really interested in that. I think this is actually going to be a
Gallup?
bit of no, not really.
Okay.
Not interested in that. I think it's going to be on the lower scoring end. I think the move, that we've already seen the point from 47 down to 45. I wouldn't be surprised if that lowers a little bit more. I think this Sunday night divisional matchup, the Giants have been completely owned by the Cowboys for the last 5 years. I think they beat Dak twice his rookie year and have lost to him every time since.
10 straight games or something like that.
Yeah, complete ownage. But I don't think this is going to be a dominant performance by the Cowboys over the Giants by any measure. I think it's going to be a tough go for the Giants offense just because I think Dallas is also going to repeat with their strong defensive performance. Probably a top 5 defense in the league, as disgusting as it feels to admit. But on the flip side, Ty Smith, both out. Just couldn't help but notice, the two Ty Smiths.
That was good. Yeah, well done.
Tyron and Tyler both out. And with Dexter Lawrence and that Giants defensive line, they're going to be able to put some pressure on Dak. So it kind of limits my optimism about the Cowboy offense as a whole, which is why I lean towards the under. Not a lot of scoring. Stick with the stud guys.
Yeah, and I've kind of been a little down on this Cowboys offense. I don't know quite what to expect with the change, of course, with Kellen Moore moving on to the Chargers.
You want to run the damn ball.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it's going to be a little
with
more
Jeff
ball
Pollard,
controlled.
Apparently.
Right. Yeah, not enough. I don't think it's going to be enough, plays called potentially. They want to wind the clock down.
Yeah, the pace of this game
on
could
the
be
possession.
very slow.
Yeah, it could be real slow. Obviously defensive, type game. Could see some punts here. But like you said, you're probably having to start Dak. You're having to start CD based on where you got him and Pollard. And on the Giants side, again, Barkley, like you said, and Daniel Jones in a super flex. But just, I've just been overall lower, which is why I haven't really got a lot of cooks. But they'll have their games. I just don't think this is one of them. So so that's where I'm at. Klaus is saying start them all. I don't know who he's referring to on that. So maybe he could clarify. But he says he's just, I think by this point the meds were really kicking in. And his text to speech is definitely on display here. Started slurring his words, it looks like. But he's saying he's still unsure of the top Giants wide receiver, that's going to be. So I'm pretty sure that's what he was trying to say with that sentence. He said with Waller, and this is actually kind of interesting. He said with Waller with the hamstring, getting the questionable tag on Friday. He said that's never good. But he saw a video of him at practice and saw nothing concerning. So obviously, Classic Mike being our resident Giants fan here, I assume he has his sources for these practice videos and whatnot. So maybe that's a little more encouraging to not make any rest.
Enough that we get
I was going to say
before 10 a.m. West Coast time on Sunday.
Right. So so that's going to be real big.
Please.
Yeah. So there you go. And then he's saying temper your expectations with Pollard. Cowboys line is banged up on the left side, and the Giants D line is very underrated, and possibly one of the top 5 lines in the defensive lines in the NFL. So again, I did say he is our resident.
Lawrence is amazing, but
yeah,
I love fandom. It's the best.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and like I said, he is a New York Giants fan. So we had our moment in the San Francisco
for him
one.
To say, I don't think they're quite top 5, but I don't think that's an outrageous statement for him to say it might be.
Yeah,
that's
for
not
sure.
Crazy.
Not at all. Not at all. So there
Just
you go, man.
influenced by fandom. That's all. Just a little.
Absolutely. He's looking through those Giants glasses, that's for sure. But who doesn't, right? It's your team. I respect it. All right. So there you go, man. Absolutely. We got Cadillac asking here. We'll get to a couple questions here, and then we'll break down this last game and get out of here. He says Ravens or Commanders D this week. Probably my top two rated defenses actually this week. I think I have the Commanders over the Ravens just by like a smidge, but I don't think you can go wrong really with either.
You can't go wrong, but if you have a choice between the two, for me, it's pretty clearly the Commanders.
Yeah. That's who I was trying to draft.
It doesn't matter whether it's Joshua Dobbs or Clayton Tune. Either one will be a wonderful, wonderful gift against a good
potentially
Commanders
no
defense.
Hollywood. Zach Ertz coming off an ACL.
It doesn't matter to me if Hollywood's out. I mean, even better, sure.
And they're actively tanking. Like they're literally trying not to win games. So, yeah, you got to go Commanders. Yeah,
I would stream as much against Arizona throughout the season as your.
That's all you're targeting.
You too.
Yeah, you're going to hear that all year long. That's going to be the number one defensive ad every week. So there you go.
Maybe just
look
at the Arizona schedule. It's okay to carry 5 defenses at a time.
Just get them on there.
But
look ahead. Not bad to look ahead.
Schedule, yes,
for sure. Dimboys is asking Mostert or Brandon Cooks in full PPR.
This week,
I was going to say I'm pretty sure you're going Mostert on that one, and I'd have to agree as well.
Season long, probably still Mostert actually, but this week, the matchup wise, it's. And the points are going to be scored Dolphins versus Chargers. So
yeah, watch it come out and be like a 17-14 game. I don't know why I even say that.
That would be the biggest, short of the 49ers losing, that would be the biggest disappointment if the Dolphins Chargers turns out to be a dud like that.
Yeah. Oh man, wasn't there a game like that last year that we were like, oh, this is going to be like the craziest like scoring game, and it was just like a complete dud. It was like Chiefs, somebody else.
Probably.
I think it was Chiefs Chargers, wasn't it? No, because the Chiefs Chargers was a great game. That 35-33 game or whatever it was. That was a great.
There definitely was a game or two like that last year. I mean, there always is.
Always there, yeah. I feel rusty.
There's no way it should be. I mean, the Dolphins don't have Ramsey. Like, come on, like there's going to be points.
Going to be tough. All right, man. So we made it. We finally made it. Try to bring the energy back for this last breakdown. We got Monday Night Football, man. Bills Jets. Bills at the Jets. Jets have probably one of the craziest opening schedules, like first 6 games of like this. We went through it on Wednesday, man. It's brutal. But we have Buffalo coming out here, opening up
episode 6. Yeah,
there it is. So Buffalo came out with a 1.5 point favorites here. Opened up 47 point over under. Currently, looks like it increased to Buffalo favored by 2.5. 2.5 and dropped down to a 45.5 point over under is where we're sitting at now. Looks like all the Bills guys are ready to go. I couldn't find any injuries or anything anyone's dealing with there. On the Jets side, I mentioned it earlier. Dalvin Cook a full go. Basically starting on Monday this whole week, no limitations, fully recovered from his off-season surgery. You have Breece Hall, looks like he's going to be active coming off that ACL. He was limited all week. So, thought is of course, they're going to ease him in, of course, by making that Dalvin Cook signing. Tell me about this game, man. That's definitely, I think, a great way to end week 1. So
this is a game I'm just really excited to watch, honestly, as a football fan. We've got the Aaron Rodgers debut with the New York Jets and a big-time matchup, huge AFC matchup to start the season against the Bills. If they lose their home matchup against the Bills to start the season, I mean, I don't think it's crazy to think that Jets fans are going to freak out immediately. Like, even with the knowledge that, Buffalo, it's the reigning AFC East beast, right? Like, so...
Right.
Yeah, you can't be that surprised if it happens, but I can't help but get the feeling that they are going to be surprised if that happens.
Jets fans seems like they're gonna go like 17-0 in their eyes. I think
probably they're all in on the Rodgers train here. Now that said, this is a game where I'm really not hesitant to start too many people. Frankly, every obvious name would go. Allen, Diggs, James Cook, and on Dalvin Cook, obviously on the Jets side, along with Garrett Wilson and Aaron Rodgers. Where's it? They had Breece Hall, wait a little bit on him. Obviously, I think they're going to be easing him in throughout the early part of the season as we started to discuss. I think we actually have a question about that. Hall or Cook this week? It's Cook.
What's that, Fish?
Yeah, Fantasy Fish. Yeah, we're going to lean Cook, safer floor. And again, just we still haven't seen Breece 100% yet throughout this offseason. Even limited as recently as yesterday's practice, right? So I think that's what you said.
Yeah.
We're staying tuned for tomorrow, or even today's report from Friday. So
yeah,
I don't think you can play Kincaid yet. I think Knox, if you don't have like Higbee or Everett available as a fill-in for, say, a missing Waller, waiting for that news, I'm okay with Knox. Not in love with it. Tough defense with the Jets. Mosley is a strong linebacker, but still, it's where I'm going to go. I'm not ready to rush into Dalton Kincaid just yet. I have trust issues with Gabe Davis to a degree. I mean, I wasn't in on the Gabe Davis hype train last year, but he still, has those outrageous ceiling performances when he is on. And I actually think this week might have the potential to be one of those because Diggs will be facing off against Sauce Gardner, who is truly a lockdown corner. One other prop pick I'm going to say, actually, Stephon Diggs under 67.5 receiving yards. Take that one.
Ooh.
I'm still starting him because of the potential that will always exist. All it takes is one play to potentially make his day, and Allen will be looking that way, right? But
oh yeah,
but I believe in Sauce.
I was going to say there's going to be a hell to pay. But there's going to be hell to pay if he doesn't see 10 targets. Like, it doesn't matter if he gets picked off twice, but he needs 10 targets.
I'm just not sure that they're going to produce.
Yeah,
so
that's what you got to worry about.
Also, I'd be hesitant to touch any of the straight lines in terms of gambling on this game. So yeah, Gabe Davis potentially if you need some kind of sneaky possible home run shot that you need to throw into your lineup. But otherwise, I'm sticking with the core three on each team: quarterback, starting wide receiver, or starting running back, and wide receiver one, ignoring the tight ends.
There you go. So I'm going to actually go back to those tight ends. Interestingly enough, I usually don't talk tight ends too much. But to me, this is one of those situations where I might actually throw Kincaid out there. Reason being, obviously, going back to what I was saying about the top cornerbacks, I have to recuse my original statement and say this is the best cornerback duo I think in the NFL here. With these Jets, I think they can potentially, contain Diggs enough to where I think there could be opportunities for Kincaid to open up and see some targets if they completely take Davis and Diggs out of here. I believe I heard somewhere, one of the podcasts I was listening to, that the tight ends that the Jets faced, or how do you put that? The Jets defense gave up a good amount of points to the tight end position because they were so strong against the quarterback. So if there was any success in the passing game, it was usually towards that opposing tight end that benefited from there. So don't hold me to that. I'm pretty sure I heard that somewhere, and that got me thinking. Also, in the thought process is it is just week one. If your team is at full strength and you do have Kincaid there, it's kind of like a little Hail Mary kind of play. You're not really losing too much again with that tight end position. If you don't have a Kelsey and he's not on the, there was no super advantage with him being, out of all lineups this week. So again, if there was a week, you could take a kind of flyer on someone who could potentially boom attached to someone like Josh Allen in that offense. That's not afraid to put up points and make a statement game against these Jets and show off their new toy, their first round pick. I could easily see him kind of being schemed and having an opportunity there, just to put that on film. Especially in kind of a way to avoid those cornerbacks. So I know I probably went way too long on that, but that's just kind of my thought process on it. So I won't take up too much time with anything else.
Process, but I think more Knox than Kincaid is all.
Yeah, and that's what you were kind of saying too. Yeah, that it's going to be more Knox. So Like I said, it's just one of those things where it's like, hey, if you're pretty strong up top, you're not dealing with like, a Cooper Cup injury or like Jerry Judy's out of your lineup, and you have a kind of a little spot where you can risk it and you feel real solid everywhere else. And I don't think you need to go run and grab Juwan Johnson or anything off the waiver wire. I would just fire up Kincaid, but that's just me. I like rooting for certain guys, and if you drafted Kincaid and you're a Kincaid fan, again with Kelsey being out this week, that positional advantage goes away. So I think if there was a week to take a flyer, why
Sure.
not in week 1? So, so there you go. That pretty much wraps that up. I got a couple more questions here. We have Neanderthal asking Rashad White or Dalvin Cook. I think I'm going to go Rashad White on this one.
I agree.
That Bills defense is nasty. That front is, it's going to be tough. But I mean, definitely Cook over Hall if you're in that situation. The boys is asking, we probably talked about it earlier, but are you guys buying that KJ as a wide receiver 2 over Addison? So we didn't quite get into KJ. Glad you mentioned this. That's why you're an OG, them boys, helping the show out, always contributing. So what do you think about this one?
No, I don't buy
KJ
that.
versus
Addison will be wide receiver 2 in short order, I believe.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. I think it is true right now, and that's why we kind of mentioned that we are sitting Addison. We want to just see him worked in there. But like we said, of almost all the rookies that went somewhere, maybe besides maybe JSN, but to me, Addison is in one of the best positions to just soak up a bunch of targets. So we just want to see it come to fruition. I'm okay if I miss out on it this week.
He's in a much better position than JSN for rookie output.
For sure.
Only
And
one
QJ.
truly better receiver above him, and a much more pass-happy offense than Seattle.
Yeah. The only problem is it literally is the 101 receiver. Like it's literally the 101 that he is sharing with. So his overall upside is limited, but he should have a decent floor. So there we go. Dim Boys was saying White to Neanderthal, going with them there. So man, we're all agreeing on. I don't know if that's good if we're all agreeing like that.
Way too much agreement tonight, honestly.
I know, right? We need some arguments in here. But we got Matthew Noto coming in here. What's up, Matthew? New name for me, or maybe it's just been a while since you've been with us. But make sure you hit that subscribe button for us here. We're trying to grow and get to 1,000 subs. And if you're already subscribed, hit that like button. Or if you just subscribed, hit that like button for us, man. We're answering your questions live Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and Sunday mornings. So make sure you guys come check us out here on the Get Right Fantasy Network. Matthew's asking JSN or Elijah Moore in full PPR. He's sitting Hollywood Brown, his slot guy, or he's saying which slot guy. I'm not scared of JSN injury personally, and I think he'll do good, but I like Elijah Moore versus the Bengals a lot. So where are you at, JSN versus Elijah Moore, Cleveland wide receiver?
I also like Elijah Moore versus the Bengals a lot. That's the way I would lean. Going in is what I view it'll still probably be the third pass catching option, much like JSN will be if he's healthy. But one is not fighting a wrist injury, and also I think just a lot more points are going to be scored in the Bengals Browns matchup this weekend. So I'm leaning towards really just the matchup that I think is going to have more offensive output.
Yeah, and
So
I think, and isn't Moore, he's like 30-year wide receiver now, right? He had 2 years with the Jets, so rookie year produced. Then they went and drafted Wilson, traded him now to Cleveland. So I just like the fact that he is more of a veteran. Like he's not still figuring everything out, where to live, like how to be a pro, like how travel works, all that kind of stuff. Like I think those kind of things, do make a little bit of an impact. So especially early in the year right now, I'd rather go with someone who's, been in the NFL for a while. Like we said, usually these rookie guys, again, unless you're like Jamar Chase or Justin Jefferson when you're coming in the league on fire, it's going to take a while. I think Jason definitely has a chance to break out towards the end of the year, but right out of the gate, and again, even if he has a blow-up game right out of the gate, then I'm very encouraged, and you'll have a chance to go later. But with what we know now, I'm definitely leaning Elijah Moore as well. Neanderthal saying thanks to Dim Boys. It's in his flex. He's starting Saquon and Derrick Henry, and he was leaning wide as well. So hopefully we made you make that decision there. So I just hope you're not playing me, because I know that team you're talking about. I just hope you're not playing me there, Jerry, or Neanderthal. Sorry, I always do that. I call them out again. Always using people's government names on here. My bad. So we got Brian MC in. Yeah, exactly. We got Brian MC in here, man. What's up? Welcome to Get Right. He said worried about the Watson injury. So yeah, we talked about that. A little while back when we were covering that game. I assume we're talking about not Deshaun, but Christian Watson here. So obviously he's been ruled out, but I assume he's maybe asking like long term. Are you concerned?
I wouldn't say I mean, a little bit, because it is hamstring, and I always worry about hamstring injuries, frankly. It just seem to linger. But full disclaimer, I was never really that high on Watson anyways. I had him as like, low end WR3 in my draft ranking. So it doesn't really affect me, I guess, because I don't have Christian Watson on even one team. So yeah, like, I'm not worried about it because I don't have him.
Okay, there you go. I want to see, more of what's coming out, what we hear. If it ends up, kind of going the route that Cooper Kupp goes, then obviously there's going to be some worry there. But for right now, hopefully, it's more like on the Judy side of things, and we can go from there. So Matthew saying, I love the personal analysis and thinking about travel, etc. So that's what we do here, man. That's what we're here for. So we appreciate you coming in. We like taking the time to help you guys out. We got Bronson in here. He's saying Geno or Russell Wilson. I'm Geno 10 times out of 10 on this one. But I know you're big
this
on
week
Russell
I'm Russ.
A little bit here.
Yeah.
Okay,
Actually,
so you're
for
still
the season,
Russ.
I'm on Russ over Geno. Yeah.
Okay, so there you go. We have what is that? What's a beezy? Is that what that says? Yeah. What's a beezy? What a beezy?
What a beezy? Like what a burger, but what a beezy?
Oh, there we go. What a beezy?
It's like an
88
participant with that thumbnail.
Oh, there we
possibly.
go. Welcome to Get Right. I don't think I've seen this name either, so appreciate you guys coming out, answering your questions here before we end the stream. But we got Dotson or Sutton in your flex. So, is this where you put Dotson in there over
Yes.
Sutton?
Yes.
Okay, I think I agree with you there too. I'm going to go Dotson over Sutton. Bronson comes back and says pick 2 for the flex. You got Sutton, Mike Thomas, Addison, Cooks, and D-Hop. I assume that's Brandon Cooks and D-Hop. So who you got there? Pick 2.
I'm taking MT and D-Hop.
Okay, and I'm going to say, oh man, I think I might be with you on that one. I hate to trust Thomas right out of the gate. I'd like to see it first.
I mean, but you'd have to see it from Madison. He's never played. Sutton hasn't done shit in 3 years, so I kind of got to see it.
You
from
could
him.
say that
Cooks is in
about
a brand new
all those
system.
guys.
Like, so yeah, I'm taking the guy who has shown elite production in his career, and now has a massive quarterback upgrade.
There we go. I'm going to go against you on that. I'm going to go D-Hop and Addison on this one. I think in this type of situation, this is where I would get Addison in that lineup. Again, a lot of vacated targets from Thielen. We've talked about how much of a passing offense this is going to be. I think there'll be targets to go around. And this is where I'd get him in the lineup if I was, I want to see Sutton, Cooks, Thomas. I want to see a game first. With Addison, I'll take the chance. Because again, it's not like you're passing up something that you kind of know what you're going to get with those other guys, in my opinion. So this is a situation I'd go D-Hop and Addison just for the fun of it. If you're an Addison guy, again, I think this is one of those times where you can take a little risk and get him in there. All right, so I think that catches us up here in the chat, man. So we'll probably start to end it out, man. After this, got to do a couple housekeeping things here, just really quick, man. Didn't get to it in the beginning of the show, but of course I got to do it, man, because they help us out here, man. If you guys are new to UnderdogFantasy.com, make sure you guys go check them out. Best ball platform. They also have a bunch of pick'ems that you can do right now. It's no waivers, no trades, no lineup setting. Again, most of their season-long drafts are over now, but you can get in their daily and weekly drafts that they're doing. Again, the pick'ems are a lot of fun as well, so make sure you guys go check those out. I was 2 picks away from hitting a $200 one yesterday, so I just missed out. I took the over on Jared Goff on 1.5 touchdowns, and I missed that, and I
You
missed,
wasted the Patty promo? Come.
Yes, I did. I know. I wasted that Patty promo, man. I thought I had it too. It was looking really good. If that, because I took the Montgomery touchdown and he got it, receiving or rushing. But yeah, it was. But it's a lot of fun, man. It's just something else
It
you can
is.
look forward to while you're watching the game. You're kind of makes you root for certain things that happen. I also took the over on the 2 field goals for Butker, which wasn't looking good, and then came back and he ended up hitting both of those. So again, it was a lot of fun, man. Coming down to the last drive. That interception really killed it. I think if Jared Goff doesn't throw that, or not the interception, but the fumble for the Detroit, I think he would have got another passing touchdown there, and I would have hit. So anyway, use that promo code Get Right, man. When you guys do, you make your first deposit between $10 and $100. They will double it up, 100% deposit match. And if you're new to Underdog, they're going to have a new customer offer. It's a mystery pick'em special, in addition to any site-wide special that they have going on. Basically free spots, free picks. Like we were saying, the Mahomes one for yesterday was over under. I think it was a half a passing yard. So it was
yard.
Or just total yard. So half a total yard. And yeah, one of those things about Mahomes, man, that was kind of underrated. 6 carries for 45 yards. We forgot he can kind of move a little bit when he's not dealing with that high ankle sprain. And
when he has nobody to throw to, he kind of has to a little more.
That too, right? So yeah. So there you go. Maybe not a bad choice.
I'm going to eye over the next couple of weeks as his rushing yardage total. See if that gets bumped up.
I meant to mention that up top, but totally forgot. So glad I got back to it there. A couple other things, of course. We have TrophySmack.com, another one of our sponsors here. So if you guys have your leagues and you want to take it to the next level, you can go get a custom ring, which we have going on in one of our new home leagues this year for only $7 per person in a 12-person league. We're able to get a customized ring that you can keep forever. We also have belts, of course, that we pass around each year. Those are a lot of fun as well, too. And then, of course, they have your standard trophies, all customizable how you want them. And then they even got cool stuff like your Kirk Cousins chain here as well that are fully customizable. So make sure you guys go jump in the description, hit that link down there, use that promo code Get Right at checkout. And, of course, that'll help support the channel here so we can keep answering your questions and helping you through the year. So
and please allow me to jump in there too.
Yes,
Smack, quality. I want to speak on this. Quality products, quality people over there. The big boss man Matt Walsh is A+. His whole employee staff A+. It's a great company to support as well, and along with just getting tremendous fantasy trophies and awards. But it's a company you can feel proud to support. Great people over there. Awesome.
Absolutely appreciate that. For sure. Absolutely. So I think that's pretty much it. Of course, I do got to bring up our boys over here, our affiliate channels. Again, make sure you guys go check out the Fantasy Frontline podcast with Tim and AJ. You'll see them broadcasting here on Get Right Fantasy Network. Mr. Tim's actually in his Scott Fishbowl League with the one and only Tycoon that's here with me tonight. They were drafting back-to-back in person at the Trophy Smack headquarters actually too. So it's all family here. As you guys can see, we got the Check Down podcast with Cody McGoats, Shirtless Pat and the fellas, and Greg over there as well too. And then of course, them boys that was down in here in the chat, man. He has his Dead Zone Fantasy Show that's going to be coming soon. So just make sure you guys have those notifications turned on and you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you get in the description and go give these guys a subscribe as well. The links are there. In addition to our boy Tycoon here that joined us from the fantasy boardroom, man. So why don't you take a minute, tell the people again who you are, what you got going on, and anything else you want. It's yours.
Appreciate you. Well, every Wednesday night, typically at 7 o'clock Pacific, 10 o'clock Eastern, is the Fantasy Boardroom, hosted by yours truly. Occasionally you have guests, but otherwise, we take a weekly look at the upcoming slate, much like what was done tonight. So a lot of starts and sits, but also mixing in some gambling picks, so betting on the games themselves, largely centered around prop picks. So when you are making your underdog picks and using that underdog code of Get Right, then come over to the boardroom and get some guidance on those picks. In addition to that, do not forget that, hey, there are other sites around there. Now, I will say Underdog is the best. They all have their pros and cons, but Underdog is number one, so go use that first. But if you can't, if you need to use Prize Picks, you can go ahead and do that. You can use my code over there, Rogue.
There you go.
Or you can use Sleeper's Picks function, Reach out to your friends for their referral code, but I'm going to throw mine out here too since I was given the floor.
Do it.
RF-FF_Tycoon. So RF for referral dash, and then me, FF_Tycoon. Also, my handle on Twitter. I will never call it by what Elon calls it. So on Twitter, you can find me, FF_Tycoon. And if you have interests that go beyond just fantasy football, if you're interested in real football that they play across the pond, also part of a new venture with my boy Fox, the premier betting show, where we take a weekly look at the English Premier League, and we are on a heater to start the year. The first 3 weeks, we are very much in the green. It's been beautiful. It's been a lot of fun. Arsenal beat the shit. Okay. All right. Arsenal beat Manchester United this past weekend. It's been a glorious start to the EPL season. So if you're interested in making some football, real football, not soccer, football picks, you can also check out the Premier Betting Show. Typically drops on Friday mornings to take a look at the upcoming weekend. But of course, we're here to talk fantasy football. So first and foremost, come join me. Fantasy Boardroom, Wednesday nights, 7 p.m.
There you go, man. Go get it. Again, it's easy. Link is down in the description. You'll see it there. For the Fantasy Boardroom, man, go throw them a subscribe. Let's support our big friend of the channel here, man. Personal friend. Always
the Get
love
Right
talking
community
football.
is my people.
It is, man. You're part of it. We wouldn't be here without you, man. So again, we appreciate it. So yeah, other than that, man, we'll wrap this thing up, man. I couldn't. Again, you hit this 3-hour stream. I don't think I've ever seen you stream this long before. So yeah. But it's been a lot of fun, man. I could probably still easily go another 3 hours with you. You're that much fun to talk to about football, man. So I really appreciate you and your time. And again, Mrs. Tycoon, thanks for making my boy available here tonight. Just happened to work out. So again, we always appreciate it, man. So from all of us here on Get Right, man, for Classic Mike, who's hopefully his hammy's okay to go here on Sunday. So we're all wishing him the best, man, and a speedy recovery. For our boy Dustin over here, hopefully he'll get on here with us soon, man. But until then, we'll hold it down for you. For my boy Frank, who will be here with me on Monday and Wednesday nights. And of course, for Tycoon and myself, man, this is Get Right Fantasy Network. We will see you guys on Sunday. Good luck, and let's get it.
Wanted to write fantasy is the play. Marking often, but I tune in every Friday. Strategies provided, I will lock in every way. So go and roll your sleeves.